Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Good evening, folks, and welcome. And I said good evening, people. That would have broke the mold. And welcome to Alien Addict. How are we all on this fine and luxurious and spectacular evening? It's a spectacular evening tonight because we have a very special guest who I have had the pleasure of being on another podcast, Lee from Musty Audio's podcast, a few months back now. And we had a very interesting conversation, and we skirted along a little bit of ufology, a bit of paranormal, and all that jazz. But I want to properly rim it because we only skirted, and I'm ready for a good rimming. So, Max, welcome to the show. I hope you're welcome too. Actually, before we bring Max on, we will bring my co-host on tonight, L. Dave. How you doing, my lad?
Good. I got promoted to co-host. That's awesome. Thank you.
Do you think I'll get told off for rimming by YouTube? I meant like to just go around, to skirt it,
Absolutely, man. Everybody these days, everybody's sensitive. Everybody's sensitive. It's weird.
The reason why I want you to come on first, because Max is a good friend of yours.
Yeah.
Could you introduce him?
Max is a highly intelligent engineer who has done contracting for various government agencies. I think it's best if we let him talk about who he's worked for because he can do it. And
and the ones he wants to talk about.
The ones he wants to talk about. Yeah.
Okay. Without further ado, Max, or should I say Afro Samurai, welcome to the show.
Yes, absolutely. So, I've worked a number of places, anywhere across, several, different government agencies, loads of, public sector stuff, and, with my own company, any number of, companies subcontracted from there. So, overall, just a lot of different places. And I've designed and engineered a lot of different things. There's not many things that I haven't done. I've been doing, engineering work for, 30 years. So it's, almost the level of mastery. Maybe when I hit about 80 years old, I would have mastered it all, but I've done hands-on, touched almost everything.
And you're good friends with James, who we had on the show a few months ago, who is the NASA contractor.
Well, he's not just that. He's also a citizen of Klingon or something like that. But yes, he's absolutely. James and I, our careers have followed each other for some time now.
For some people that might not have made it to the end of that show, we did get your friend to speak Klingon. He's fluent in Klingon.
Yes.
And you can't speak any alien languages, no?
Well, they're foreign words of sorts, right?
So, I take it, Max, you don't really want to speak about the companies you've worked for.
Well, I can, so it's, I've made that tour, 2 tours, out at the national laboratories. I've done 2 tours with several contractors at, with NASA subcontractors. There's, been in water heater industry, parts of automotive, appliance industry, firearms industries. Yes, I've literally done a lot of everything and dabbled in any number of things in between. So.
Dave says you are an absolute genius.
Department of Defense. That's what Dave wants to hear me say. Also.
There's a few things I want to hear you say, and I'm not going to push any of them. It's okay.
Right.
Hey man, I get it.
Three letter anything. Okay, fine.
Yeah, and the kicker is everybody wants to hear like Department of Defense. Like they don't even understand that that's not where the cool shit happens.
Not necessarily.
Those aren't the people.
There's all kinds of cool stuff everywhere, and with companies, vertically integrating, horizontally integrating, spreading out in any number of things. there's when you look at the list of companies behind any of these, you'll find companies that you won't expect, right? I mean, Mazda, an automotive corporation, actually started off making light bulbs. They weren't always in automotive. So, General Electric, good God, they're in everything now. I mean, so, to say, privatize government, governmentalized, companies, there's a fewer and fewer smaller separation between the two. They really don't exist once they start getting into, the big umbrella of government contracts. And I'm sure we'll touch on what that means in the political realm if we ever get there. But, they're all cross-functioning, and, some small corner of any obscure company, some of them have, funny names, right? So
some of them have funny
there
names.
You have it.
Yeah, I found that once corporations go multinational and then they start getting into, like you said, government contracting, you can't tell where one starts and the other ends anymore. Like they're, you know what I mean? They're whether they're like a what should I say? Whether they're an engineering company on the West Coast that gets involved in government contracts and now provides aliases and covers for knock officers for the CIA or NSA. They're still doing the regular government engineering and contracting around the world. You know what I mean? Like it. Yeah. Once you're in that veil, it's unknown. People. And this is the thing I think, Max, that I'd like to hear you speak about maybe a little bit. You always hear these people. I'm sorry, not these people. I'm painting with a broad brush. The people online that run the different YouTube channels about UFOs or, what it used to be newsletters and shit back in the day. They always say, well, the government needs to say this, the government needs to say that. I think it's always been this disconnect.
Yeah.
That these people don't get that the government's really not running too terribly much. You know? Like how many government officials really get to go behind the doors at Skunkworks? Seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, none of them.
And just like this, and James, or we have all heard this disclaimer, right? My views and opinions don't represent the views and opinions of any of these, name any agency or anything else. It's just Afro Samurai, okay? My 30 years of experience working across these different agencies and how I see it and how I know it to be one way or another.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's say for instance, in rocketry, okay, in the space. We're talking about space, we're talking about aliens, talking about rockets. All right. So one of the things is, say for instance, the contracts that any of these agencies win, right? Okay, first of all, NASA, the skies are controlled anywhere from 400 feet, probably to ground level anywhere. It's controlled by the Air Force, okay? And if you want to say that the Navy is a controller of Air Force, fine. However gold frilled flags you want to call it. Beyond that, after that, what people have to understand is, agencies, they wave flags for this nation, that nation, or whatever it could be. The overall, governing agency, NASA, they manage and direct, contract companies that come in and, win and bid those contracts. So when a so-called private company, and this is where we're talking about that blurred line between private and government. So you can say SpaceX is private, Blue Origin's private. No, not really, because the example I used before, David, you and I, we can say that we make rockets, but we just don't have a car lot of rockets sitting out there for people to buy. These challenges are far too expensive for one company, and some programs I worked on are too expensive for even nations as individuals to work on. So there's team efforts there, and tax dollars, like it or not, are supporting these quote unquote private companies because, right, they're getting the contract. They're just doing the man hours, the man labor in order to, achieve this goal or this mission. But whether or not they started there, like I said, Blue Origin just didn't come out offering a rocket. There's a lot going on behind that. And if so, then where's the car lot of rockets? And NASA can just walk down the road and just say, no, we're buying this one from Lockheed. We're buying this one from there. No, not at all. So funding. So that ties closely into the funding and why funding, goes in, goes out. NASA is discretionary spending by the president. At any particular time, that funding can be pulled. Thus go the way of all the so-called private or non-private agencies, because nobody's going to buy the rocket. I can't just go up and just buy a rocket without clearance of all sorts to even launch it. So it's tightly controlled, or there are much tighter controls in the lines between waving the flag for hoorah, we have, private. No, there's no private space ownership or flights. It's
To
not
the
quite how that
average,
works.
to the average Joe, though, Max, it does seem that, like, whether you want to call, I mean, Elon Musk's SpaceX a private space industry or not, it seems like he's made the biggest move in such a small space, small time space compared to NASA.
He's purchased the largest move in the small time space. Okay. Again, NASA being discretionary spending, governments being willing to take money wherever they give them to keep from ripping into their own coffers for people to do whatever it is they need to do. Does that make sense? So yeah.
So I am I'm conscious of the 2 hour usually the time that we have on this show.
No, we're doing 5 hours, right?
We are definitely doing fine. But what I because some people might be thinking, well, the title of the show, Beyond UFOs.
Yeah.
With the work at NASA and from what we've seen of recent days about NASA speaking about the Tic Tac UFO, they've spoke about it. Do you see NASA doing anything about this?
Well, again, NASA, just management, they're still controlled. So NASA isn't going to make an independent, they may have people come on and say things, but they're just not without guidance as to what they're going to do about it. Are they going to offer any more research or images, that are scrubbed or therefore not, right? Before any of us make a, speak to the public or anything like that, particularly an issue like this that now has, they have a czar, for lack of a better term, that's already running things like this, right? There's, and I think it's the UN that actually holds someone that's considered the, the agency or space, agency's, head. And, those people are going to lead that voice, but under, strict control and strict direction, I imagine, right? I mean, we already see it's the government or it's the military releasing videos, right?
Yep.
And whatever that video holds is the absolute, that's what's going to be displayed. David shared with me some videos of some other people, videotaping things or filming, not necessarily videotaping, but filming things that they've seen. But that's, if someone has something very convincing or compelling, we're just going to get the fuzzy image of the Tic Tac at this point, right? It's So it's to the rest of the people out there, platforms like this, that are going to find things and push it forward. So they'll be the ones to do things, but that's a big ship to try to get moving in the water. Is we don't command NASA to do anything, right? And they don't command themselves to do anything.
Why do you think that they're showing a little bit of public, I mean, very little public interest, but they're showing some public interest now in UFOs, UAPs, whatever you want to call them?
People or agencies showing interest.
NASA. I'm talking about,
agencies.
Yeah. And I think it would help. The more of that we see, I think it would give us, we've only fed, like I said in another podcast, we do things, that whole Kennedy thing about going to space, right? That whole, movement speech. I think that one won't necessarily work now, right? We have a more, aware of each other, public, right? internet, any number of things. People are either open-minded or closed-minded to these other things, but there's just so much out there now, right? We're talking about just a volume of knowledge, video footage, whatever you want to call it. So in order to gain the interest, what is our goal, right? People have already complained once they said that we were going back to the moon, right? Well, why are we doing that? You know, I think it gives another dimension of interest to it. You see, there could be something else, right? We can add this into the goal of things, not necessarily putting it directly as a target, a goal, or even a specific part of the mission. But say, for instance, I was going to go to Jupiter, Mars, wherever. But by the way, you know, we out of all the years that we've said that Mars is only going to be inhabited potentially by nothing or microbes at best, what if we pass something interesting along the way?
Well, yeah. I mean, I kind of think more and more that it's going to be robots will be the first thing that step foot on Mars and not man.
Yeah, I think did I convince you of that last time? Possibly.
Yes. Yeah, but you probably did in the conversation. Yeah. And it just so happens that Elon is working on the Tesla bot.
Well, yeah. Yeah, we talked about that in those movies that kind of, you know, now you have transcendence or any number of things to move consciousness, right? We talked about Ghost in the Shell and putting that in a shell. You know, how does that relate to now? You know, putting a consciousness, you know, whether it be AI or partly consciously controlled here on the ground where we can kind of see an interface, but it would definitely be safer. I lack hope and confidence that a person, an individual, despite, you know, divorces, we hate the ex-wives or anything else, to be there alone that far away from home is something different. And even with the trip, I mean, you could put him one male amongst a harem and put him for 3 years in some cramped space. It's just still not going to work. It's a psychological undertaking. It's not as comfortable as 2001 Space Odyssey or anything, you know, makes it appear to be. And people that we have put to sleep, we have a hard enough time waking people up out of surgeries and you know, long-term cryogenic sleep. Like I said, there may be other places that have it far beyond us, but until they make us aware of it, you know, I'm not 100% confident that, you know, people can make it without killing themselves or each other, right?
Yeah, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I know El Davis mentioned that you're going to be kind of working on something for the upcoming the upcoming company, Black Star Paranormal.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Is that okay, Dave?
Yeah. Or to me, it's up to Dave. I'm sorry, Dave.
No, we're not going to talk about that. See, I'll say this: the approach to the paranormal is one that.
That's what I'm trying to get to, David. Without going too much, I'm not going to.
I think the public's interested. I can pull up some CAD models and show them all the plans. You want me to do that?
No, let's not do that.
That's safe for another show.
Or never. Because here's the thing: like the approach of the paranormal, most people go with is either they have it all figured out or they know what they're talking about. No one approaches it with, "What is this actually?" You know what I mean? It's weird. You see people who study the paranormal or have interactions with it, which I believe they absolutely do. They immediately go to assumptive understandings, like assumptive conclusions. Like, this is such and such. How do you know that? Why not just take it at the face value of what it is? This is an anomaly. This is an unknown encounter with something that I cannot see, I cannot detect, but yet is somehow exerting influence in this space at this moment.
Agreed.
I think that's the proper approach. And maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Maybe everyone else is absolutely right. Sure, cool. We're going to go in a different way. We have, I definitely have a theory, and some of the other guys I've talked to, we share a common theory and share common experiences. Like, we have footage when we went to that haunted hospital. I've gone through it all. There's great stuff in there. And the first question would be, why didn't we share it? Why haven't we shared it yet? Why would we? It's
you've not launched the channel yet.
haven't launched the channel. Well, no, I mean, we have things reserved, and we could easily put it up, but I don't want it to give, like, there's no way I can show that footage and not share what our theories are, you know, and the things I'm dealing with the Afro Samurai and others about is how can we test these ideas? You know, and people say, "Oh, I use the scientific." No, in an actual scientific way, how can we actually measure these things? How can we do this? And I'm not smart enough to do that. Max is. So that's why I called him up. Like, hey, man.
Yeah, I think on the back of the question I was going to ask Dave, without blowing my load, so to speak, on your plans for the channel with Max.
Definitely
great
with
stuff.
Max,
Great stuff. What I've seen so far, and what I've heard about.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know where your interest is in it, Max. Why are you curious about it?
That's a good question.
Well, yeah, it's you know, people look up at any number of times and, you know, wonder about
as an inventor, how
okay.
that does all the technical stuff that you do.
It's always
where is
yeah. You know, an inventor, you know, you can call me an inventor, a scientist, you know, been all those things. Challenges, right? It's a challenge. It's in my wheelhouse, a problem that I can solve. It's something that, you know, I can do. And that's the initial part of it. So that's what's attracting me to it, right? You know, David presents a problem and I see, you know, based on what's out there, what we can do better, you know, things of that nature. So yeah, for me, it is, you know, another puzzle, if you will, to try and put together, right? So in the end, okay, so that satisfies the engineer in me. So the rest of it is, you know, yeah, let's see if I leaned on the fence or stood on the border one way or another. Now at least, you know, I could be convinced in my own eyes, you know, one way or another, and I would still approach the problem, you know, full-heartedly with. And that's the other thing. As a skeptic or not, I'm going to put so much behind it that unless the whatever it is passes these tests, I'm going to say it's bunk, right, or debunked, right. So that gives it that a bit of fairness, right? Because you know, guns, weapons, spacecraft, and everything else, ghosts haven't been in that. So this is the one thing I haven't done. So guess what? After I do it, then I can say I'm a Ghostbuster.
So
I just wanted to comment. There was an interesting thing. I think it's by Brian in the comments, because I'm able to check him occasionally when I pay attention. It just stood out to me that science will never crack the code of life after death.
Well, gotta keep trying, I guess.
Yeah, well, because we as humans are not supposed to know the secrets until we enter that realm. Hey, man, this is the kicker, though. Is I actually don't think that's here's the thing, Brian. I'm not trying to solve any secrets of life after death. Not at all. That is not the direction I'm going.
And if anything, it can be said that these ghosts and things or whatever this is, that's happening here. That's not even after death. So why is it happening
here right now?
So we're not, I don't guess, trying to learn anything else. Then why is it and what is it that's occurring here and now? So that's fair. I think on the living platform side, we're allowed to express and explore as much as we can. And I don't think that's flying in the face of gods or anything else anyone believes.
Yeah. No, and that's kind of my point is that is not the structure that I plan on taking with this. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know, like, the reason people immediately go to life after death, and you see that a lot, is because we've been conditioned to that over time. We believe it's great grandma Sally or whatever. How do we know that? How do we know that? Like, what conclusive evidence is something happens in a place that is unexplainable? That's what we know.
And we just want to figure out that it's not Grandma Sally that's opening.
Yeah, and people start attributing meaning to things, and not only that, how do we know it's not something else pretending to be something else? How do we know it's not natural phenomenon? How do we know that there's a lot of things it could be that we just don't know? And when I get to that, I think of the documentary A Tear in the Sky, which I recommend. Did you see that, Ollie?
I've watched about 35 minutes I've watched about 35 minutes uninterrupted.
Gotcha.
And I paid for it as well. You know, I always
do
pay
too.
for these I always
do
support these people, whether
Absolutely.
I like the documentary or not. I pay for them.
Yeah, as do I. So the most interesting thing I think was a takeaway from that is they film an object in the sky.
Yeah.
Right. They have $500,000 in camera equipment. They have all these things going on. If not, honestly, more. They have experimental camera equipment. They see an object with their naked eye. They then proceed to film the object, and they're checking their different cameras. It only shows up on one of multiple cameras. Multiple cameras, it shows up on one. Now, unless something wild that happened in physics, photons behave a particular way. Am I correct in thinking that there, Afro Samurai?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
everything should fucking pick it up.
Yeah.
Why didn't it?
Why not?
Why
only
didn't it
one
pick
camera?
it up?
The batteries.
Why
were
one
weak in
camera?
The other one. I mean, if okay, there we have an answer. Batteries were weak in the other ones.
No. They're all recording live feed to the monitors. They can look at outside, see it outside, look in the monitors. Only one has it on.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. That's one thing that we dispel, right? We're looking at.
Yeah. We run through the checklist.
It's not the batteries. It's something else. And now we're at that realm of the unexplained. But we had the courage and the ability to ask the question, and we tried it. That's it. Again, it's happening here. We're alive. Something is happening, so we're going to try something.
Yeah. So this is another good comment. Mike Rotunda, I hope I'm saying that right. Right, but it's weird to have amazing footage and you hold on to it. I'm supposed to believe this kid. I appreciate that. I actually do. I don't take that as an insult at all. Because he said he has something. Sorry, but that stuff gets old. That's the problem. I appreciate that, but something to understand is I'm not doing anything that Black Star we choose to share with anyone. It's mostly for shits and giggles, or it's to create interest for whatever purpose we have interest for. I, like any good multinational or business that works for anything like that, I'm going to keep the best stuff to myself. It just is what it is. Sorry. I'm not doing it for you. I'm not doing it for anyone else. I'm not studying this for anyone but myself, my friends. Scientific curiosity. At some point, will we show it? Probably, especially this particular footage. If we catch something amazing that we can then gain an edge off of, either financially or some kind of insight, absolutely we're going to hold on to it. Yeah, that's absolutely. I'm not sharing it. This isn't for enlightenment of the universe. I don't give a shit about that. It's not my fucking problem, man. I'm out there doing work. I'm trying, and it comes out of my pocket.
And Mike, I can also vouch for L. Dave that I've known you now for nearly 3 years.
Yeah, I think a little over that actually. Yeah.
And you send me all sorts of stuff, and we talk after shows about the paranormal. We should carry on an after show after the shows, because sometimes the after shows are even better because that is purely your interest is in this subject.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It is. And Mike, I didn't think you were trying to insult me. I said I didn't take it as one. Man, you can insult me if you want. Again, I don't care. So why am I on this channel then? Well, because I wanted to bring Max on because I think he has insight for a lot of people who watch. He's an interesting guy. Some of the other guys I bring on here are interesting guys, and trying to connect them with Ollie because I like Ollie's channel and I like what he's about. That's why. I have a fascination with it, and I've been able through this channel to meet other interesting people, and that's kind of why we're going forward with it. But as far as why would I give what we work for away? Why would anyone do that? No one roofs a house for giggles. You know what I mean? Like it's just not what it is. At some point, yeah. I mean, if a revelation comes, if it's something neat, maybe we'll share it. But the thing is, I'm just not guaranteeing it. Like that's not. And what we have now, part of why I won't share part of it is there's people in the video and their names are mentioned, and to edit it out would just destroy the video. Yeah.
I will say that you have sent me now probably about 14 videos of things that go on in your life that I could never share because you'd never forgive me. You'd probably come down and hunt me with a big, massive baseball bat or something sharp. But you've got nothing to prove, Mike.
No. And that's it. I genuinely don't. It's but I mean, his question is absolutely a fair question. Why am I on?
100%, yeah.
Because I absolutely I'm enamored with it, man. I'm passionate about it. I'm curious. I have questions, and I don't feel like anyone's asking them.
This is your passion.
This is my passion. Yeah. This is my passion. Doesn't mean I'm going to share it. Genuinely doesn't. To give a hint, some of the stuff Max and others are talking about. I mean, we're talking about the first paranormal technology that may actually be patentable. That if there's nothing else like that, everything else is made in someone's damn, garage that they're selling on Etsy or what. Like, this is stuff to measure the unknown using the scientific method, actual technology built by professionals. That's bringing something. I don't know anyone else who's doing that. But I get it. I mean, why wouldn't I share it? Why would I?
Without
right, Max?
Without giving any of the technology away just yet, because I mean, we didn't invite Max on to talk about that technology, but I just wanted to kind of bring that in line with Max's interest in helping you out with the paranormal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But is there a prototype yet, Max?
One will be quickly done. Right now, it's still engineering. We're doing chips, electronics, and that kind of thing. So I have to set up a time to meet with Dave. My side helper, went through some elbow surgeries and things of that nature. So once we get together, but some really good stuff. That the prototyping part is actually that's not the long lead item on this whole thing. Initially it's coming up with these ideas and seeing how they're going to fit together, how we're going to package them and things like that.
Yeah.
And then in this physical realm, how do we measure, X, Y, and Z and make that into something that really makes sense. And then, we add, any number of things on David's wish list also. So.
Max, I spoke about the UFO community, and I said it's, well, Dave laughed when I said it's a little hostile. Never mind the UFO community. What do you make of the footage that has come out? The stuff that's on the news channels, the main things that everybody's seen. What do you actually, as somebody who looks at things with a smart eye when it comes to technology, what do you make of that footage that you've seen?
It's other things that I've seen, where they're releasing what some Navy pilot is seeing, this, that, and the other, and some of the things that James talked about on the other show. When things do make their prescribed, as they describe in sharp turns, 90 degrees, all of these different accelerations, and what have you. I think most people, the footage is almost never good enough, right? Therein lies part of the rub. That's really everyone's real gripe, and now as things are, you have people, if we were to just take, people falsifying things. I mean, they're doing things with video imaging that is just really amazing, and add on top of that, some, obscurity or fuzziness. Then where are we now? It's getting to where we can't believe everything we see. So outside of that, I start thinking of when I see things like that, looking at the accelerations and whatnot, just the engineering perspective, then I start, my mind starts diving off into, not only how it's done, we assume that, you know, there's something controlled, but the way some of the motions are, you know, that no one's inside, but rather controlled remotely starts to make more sense, you know. But then, even then, that's based on assumptions that the alien life form is anything like us, you know, right? Is it just as fragile as we are, or does it have to be, you know? So, you know, that's kind of where my mind goes whenever I'm looking at things like this. And that's where, you know, I start to think, you know, when people call them probes, that sounds even more, you know, closer to what they potentially be, just simply because of the accelerations and things that they do. And then we have to, you know, be able to pick them apart and jump over the fence at Area 51 and beg them to let us see what they actually have.
But is it from Max's perspective, looking at that footage, what did you think of it? What did you think of the footage?
You know, and that's where my mind leads me. That's exactly I didn't think of it as, you know, believable or unbelievable necessary. You know what I mean? I didn't just instantly say, you know, it's fake.
You weren't blown away by the. What I'm saying is the movement and everything like that.
You know, I guess blown away only in. See, for me, you know, my brain is working a little bit different, perhaps, right? I'm trying to answer the question of how can that be? I'm not. Of course, I can be blown away by the performance. If I want to be, you know, I'll get on a motorcycle, you know, a ZX 1400 and be totally blown away. And that's a physical experience. I'm there. But looking at it from the outside, just looking at a race car going around the track, it's like, you know, wow, that's fast.
Yeah.
I wonder what's under the hood. You see what I mean? Yeah. It's a whole different thing. I'd be more blown away to get, you know, sucked into the alien ship and go for the ride, right? That's the ultimate. But right now I'm just looking at a nice car.
You know, it's funny you put it that way. And I don't know if Max wants to chime in on this or not, but something that I thought when I had seen those videos, and I still think when I see them, is the cameras on these aircraft that filmed this, right? The target lock on and all that jazz. Those cameras are fucking phenomenal.
Yes.
I mean, they're amazing. Like, people are like, it's a bird. That camera doesn't make mistakes for birds. Not to mention it has, you know, digital identification. It will feed back to the pilot. These things can do a lot. The fact that it is blurry.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the show? It didn't run for very long. It was called Threshold. Like, they didn't even do one full season. The premise is like an alien invasion type thing. Anyway, the aliens are sending probes, right? And the probes float in the air and they fluctuate and they change humans' DNA. It's not the point I'm getting to, just plot line. And I like the show. I had Peter Dinklage.
Aliens love probes, mate. They love them.
It depends on where they're shoving them. Yeah. So one of the interesting things was, like, the camera footage, on the show, of course, totally fictional. On the show, the cameras would blur out and you couldn't get a good look at it. Even in person, it was hard to see. And Peter Dinklage's character, a mathematician, is looking at it. He says, what I think you're seeing is like a 6-dimensional object in 3 or 4-dimensional space, depending on how you count our space with time, would be 4, right? Yeah. So you're seeing something of extra dimensional compressed in. You can't see the whole thing. So you can't scan it on radar. You can't. And to me, that I always thought it was just a fascinating idea. Like, would that be true? You know, physicists I've talked to, they're like, yeah. And other ones are like, no. And of course, everyone has their own opinion. But when I see that footage, and again, I don't know the specific specs on that camera, but I'm aware of similar ones on other military aircraft, and what they can do. Like, read a damn newspaper from 30,000 feet. You know what I mean? Like, they can do amazing things. Like, most people don't know this. I forget the specific designation of the drone they used to bomb with. Is it the Global Hawk? I think that's the one I'm thinking of. It's a $15 million aircraft, and it's the camera on the thing is $13 million. The rest of it is duct tape and hollow aluminum and shit. But and these fighter jets have comparable equipment, if not far superior equipment, and it can't get a good look. No one talks about that.
And that's where I was mentioning that it's no matter what, the images aren't good enough. And, to say it's, 6 dimensions, 5, 10, 20 dimensions, or whatever the case may be, and that's the reason why the camera can't focus. Well, I guess it only helps the alien that doesn't want to be seen. It doesn't help us as far as proving things because, sight and sound are the most basic things that we have for something at a distance. And now, compound on top of that, despite all the technology, we're still getting blurry images. So at least give me a sharp, crisp, blurry image, if nothing else. That's where it just kind of falls apart for me. It was a lot of bit disappointing. They complain about the $1 million toilet at NASA. What about that camera? No wonder they're hitting things they aren't supposed to hit. I don't know.
I will say this: Fravor's footage from the Tic Tac that apparently he actually said on I think it was Lex Friedman podcast that the original footage was a lot crisp than what because that got leaked many years. It was leaked I think on an internet site years before it came out.
Everyone thought it was a hoax. So I just saw someone's comment. Oh, shit, it's Mike Rotunda again. Hey, man. He says, yes, I'm saying what I'm saying. To us, it looks weird or incomplete, but that's how it would look to us. A fish doesn't see the boat. I actually agree with that. You can't see all of it. We don't know what it is, right? Whatever's going on, we don't know what it is. And to your comment there, Ollie, you've met him before. You've talked to a friend of mine, the Annapolis graduate. That's all I want. I'll leave him alone at that because he has an actual thing going on in life. But so he's been on different naval vessels, and they've had incredible footage that they've pulled off, and all the guys got around and watched, and the skipper took and confiscated, threw in the locker, and when they got to port, he handed it off to someone, and that was the end of it. Yeah.
Because David Fravor did say with the Tic Tac that because there was rumors that the so-called Men in Black they came in on a helicopter, they took the tapes the next day. He said that never happened for that particular. Could he have been? I mean,
I don't know that he would have known. Right?
I think what I'm saying
he's
is
a pilot. He's
do you think he could have lied about that and maybe it did get covered up?
I think when you're a military man, you don't lie. You do what your government asks you to do. But yeah. But I know that it's the ethereal my friend. But my friend who is an Naval Annapolis graduate, who is someone I trust, whatever that means, and then obviously it means nothing. And he had said, he's like, dude, I've seen much better gun camera footage, and we all have. And Skipper took it. That's how that went.
Moonlynch. I'm dyslexic, but I think does Moonlynch mean is there a plane in Spain?
Is there pain in Spain?
I think you mean
attack.
Plane. I think I missed the L out. Plane. A plane.
I like pain more though. I mean,
I do.
That, right? I'm not judging anyone if you whatever. We're all in
the pain of Spain. I don't know about that. A UFO attacking a plane in Spain?
I think if a UFO attacked, so let's say, for sake of argument, right?
That's a great thumbnail, though, right there.
That, yeah. But say for argument that those videos are 100%. Max, you'll be able to probably express this better than I can. If you have the ability to achieve that type of velocity, there's no government on this planet that's going to stand against you.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's
you could put a tungsten ball in it and just be like, all right, here it is at Mach 80.
And then it just makes an awesome right turn. I mean,
unless you all have them.
Huh?
Who? Us? If we had them,
no,
everybody would be America.
Unless you all have them.
Have that technology.
Yeah. Well, I don't think everyone does. I don't. If that technology is what they say, maybe I'm way off. If that technology is what they say, whatever government has it, they rule the world tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. and no one will be able to question them. No, all fired. No, you're not going to do shit.
We thus far, okay, we'll say that the video's real. We've seen aircraft that can do things.
Yes.
Do those carry weapons? I don't know. So have we seen, weapon activity as of yet? So that's the other thing. It's one thing for aircraft to just zoom around the sky and just do what they do. They're just getting in the way of planes or whatnot, and we're looking at pointing at them. But in order to take over and be a threat of any way, then we need to see a demonstration of the weapon class.
I agree. 100%.
Just weather manipulation. I don't know. So it's not a threat, right? If there's nothing in your hands and you're far enough away, David, you're not a threat. I dictate how far away that has to be, right? But at this point, they're keeping their distance, right? Until we can shoot at them, but if they're not shooting back, we're not seeing anything. Could be cat.
Apparently, we do.
Yeah.
Apparently, we do. Max, do you know who Jeremy Corbell is?
It's vaguely familiar. I think I've run across the name before.
The Bob Lazar documentary guy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I just show you 11-second clip because apparently we do fire on them.
Yeah.
I have seen the logs. I have seen the videos. We have attempted shoot downs of UAPs on a regular basis. We're talking as recently as last Friday.
So last Friday, that was quite a few Fridays ago, actually, because I clipped that about 2 months ago. But yeah, apparently he says they're shooting at you guys.
Yeah,
they're shooting at aliens.
Okay, so we're shooting at them. Are we hitting them? Are they shooting back? It's one thing if this is, it's a de facto war that we claim. It's another thing if they, if they do like in kind, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then, and if their weaponry is at least as a very minimum what we have, but they have 10 times the capability as far as flight speed, they'll still mop the floor with us.
They'll mop the floor. See, so let's say Jeremy Corbell is 100% right. Just for devil's advocate, let's say he's right. That is happening. The fact that it's coming through him and not a government source, we can extrapolate certain things from that, right? One, if the U.S. government is engaging with unknown aerial phenomenon wherever, and we're shooting them down, that's going to be in the newspaper, right? We kicked alien ass. If we're shooting at them with the best we got and they just sidestep it and laugh, we're not telling anyone. It's kind of like if you get in a fight and you win at a bar, even though you don't know anyone there, you go home and tell your friends, hey, I kicked a guy's ass. Whereas if you get beat up in an alley and no one sees it, you just pretend like that never happened. Right?
Yeah.
No, I got that scar because I fell.
Yeah.
I think OYE's comments for you, Dave.
Aliens are animated beings who manipulate human. Maybe.
You constantly speak about it manipulating.
I that's it's a personal feeling.
Well, describe the personal feeling. Is it the pain in the asshole that leads you to believe that you've been manipulated? Or
no,
what?
that's just a nice little Tuesday.
That's okay.
That's the lube is for, man.
Pleasure, pain.
Yeah. Pleasure, pain. It's such a fine line. So dark. People will take me literally.
What have you walked into, Max?
Oh, believe me, while Max was talking a minute ago, I wanted to make jokes and I didn't because I didn't want to give too much personal info away. But I just let it be. Yeah, so Interdimensional, that's for me, I think that's a great question. I know I've talked about it on here before. I know Ollie and anyone who's ever seen me is probably
You've never been on here, Dave.
I have. I was on with you and Lee not too long ago. Remember?
Oh yeah, you were, weren't you?
Yeah, I've been on here several times. But yeah, Interdimensional. I think. What do you think about that, Max? You're the guest of honor, Afro Samurai.
I mean, yeah, I can buy it as an interdimensional being. I mean, there's no right and wrong answer at this point, right? If it's let's say, for instance, if we go to the old stuff and we pull out the classic claims about the Roswell and well, if that thing, that they so-called have is interdimensional, well, I don't know. That's kind of in this dimension, right? At this point, So, is that the being? Is that the shell of a being? Is it a bio android, if you will? So, does that then explain the reasons why we can't clearly focus in, and maybe we're just looking at bins of lights or after shadows of what's there? So they're just shooting at ghosts, so now this ties into the whole ghost thing. So yeah, sure, I'm open to it all. There's no right or wrong answer.
That is a great name for a video, Max. We're just shooting at ghosts. Love it.
Well, you dip the bullets in holy water, my friend.
Yeah.
But no, man, are either of you familiar with the Sierra tapes?
I've heard of this.
Okay. It's a camp that was in the Sierra Mountains out in California, Nevada border.
I think we spoke about this after a show, Dave.
Yeah, I think we did speak about it after a show. I know I've sent it to you, buddy. I just don't think you.
The 7-foot dogs smoking cigarettes.
No, that's. We should talk about that, but that's different.
Oh,
7-foot dogs. Are we talking about? Is this Skinwalker?
Yeah, they did a velvet painting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm delving in a bit of Skinwalker, so we'll definitely get onto that.
Yeah, but so the Sierra tapes were it was a hunting kind of lodge. These guys found these trees, basically built a makeshift little hunting lodge out in the mountains, and they started having phenomenon. It was immediately reported that it was like UFOs, or not UFOs. I'm sorry. It was immediately reported that it was Bigfoot, or people heard their stories and thought it was Bigfoot, and they just kind of stopped talking about it. Totally. Like they were just like, all right, well, hell, we're not going to talk about this anymore. But they made recordings, sound recordings, other things. And they kept going to this camp for years until the camp was discovered by, rangers and taken down, and the phenomenon kind of died out. But to hear these guys tell the story, to see their footage, to hear their recordings, and they say, it's not only did they have like Bigfoot type phenomenon, large creatures speaking an unknown language across the river, like shouting at them. They would see balls of lights in the woods. They would see things in the sky. They would all like poltergeist phenomenon would follow them home. Right. Mm-hmm. These are all things that we would associate with Skinwalker Ranch, with other paranormal places around the world, really haunted. Like, so if you go to a mental asylum or some well-known haunted place for whatever reason, right? Mm-hmm. One of the things people will talk about is hitchhikers, right? You take phenomenon home with you. Not everybody, but for some reason it chooses to follow certain people. Mm-hmm. And then they'll have that. They'll have follow-up phenomenon, hitchhiker effect.
Yeah, I had it 3 weeks after meeting you.
Yeah.
I had it for 3 weeks after first meeting.
Itching and burning? Did you have to take a shot? I don't know.
I told you to get the penicillin. I warned you.
Max,
you were the one excited.
True story. When I first met Dave face-to-face on camera, weird shit happened in my house.
Yeah.
For about 3 weeks.
No,
but anyways,
usually after meeting Dave, I go away with a cough, nagging cough, caught something from him.
I am a walking petri dish, but yeah, man, no. So I mean, it's a phenomenon associated, and that makes me think that there's geological locations. Obviously, it's something people in the past have talked about that are clearly more important for other reasons, like the Skinwalker Ranch. It's not the ranch; it's that whole basin, and that's a key word there, basin, and that mesa especially because it's the Skinwalker Ridge, right, where the legend of the skin. That's where the path of the Skinwalker. It's where it walks. Mm-hmm. The ranch has just been made famous because of the book and the paranormal activity, basically because George Knapp, Bigelow got into it. Now it's a TV show, but that whole area experiences that. There's areas all over the country that experience that kind of stuff. I would think the area very close to me experiences that kind of stuff. If you get into like jet propulsion labs and the people who founded it and how they founded it, why did they pick the location that JPL's built on now in California? Well, there's heavy occult symbol. Like they were looking for the right place. Mm-hmm. Very strange. Area, why is it there? They were looking for the right place. So if let's say it is, let's say it has something to do with interdimensional, let's say the geological aspect to it, something about that, whether it's magnetic ley lines, whether it's mineral deposits, whatever the hell it is, just the shape. If we study that, which nobody talks about, then we would have a way to designate new areas that people aren't even at, or people don't realize that phenomenon's going on. Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, I think I have, but yeah.
Because if this phenomena is real and it is shifting through a dimension, if we could learn that technology,
Maybe it's not technology.
That's changed the game.
Maybe it's a natural phenomenon. Maybe it is a naturally occurring phenomenon.
I didn't mean the technology. I meant so I worded that wrong. I meant learn the phenomena. If we could learn more about that, maybe we could learn how to utilize those areas.
Yeah, and like so Travis Taylor, I've talked to Max a little bit about Travis Taylor. I like him. I think he's an interesting cat. He's got a real background to it. It's not just that he used to work at NASA. Like that would be like saying Max worked at NASA. Max worked a hell of a lot of better places than NASA. You know what I mean? As is James, and as many people, there's better places. Not that there's anything wrong with NASA. I'm just saying interesting shit, funding, things that are going on. And when you look at that guy did a whole interview with George Knapp. And there's a few key things to take away from there. One, again, Skinwalker Ranch is a damn TV show. Leave it where it is. Understand that there are other things. They are putting money into it. They are actually doing research out there. And no, they're not putting it on camera for the same reason I'm not showing things that I'm doing, right? Like, why? I want an edge. I don't want anyone fucking around with it. I don't want someone trying to carbon copy and clone something that, you know, me and others are working towards to be ours. I'm not just trying to give shit away. But I thought it was interesting that this man of science, Taylor, had phenomenon follow him home. That is something. And I'm hoping against hope, because there's a location I want to bring Max up to and another person. And me and one of my partners, Dio, have already been to. It's the footage, part of the footage I sent you. Ollie, I just now read that message. But I'm hoping that Max and this other person will have hitchhikers follow them home. That is a goal for me. It is.
You want to be followed home? So do I.
I want them to be followed home.
I used to be wanting to be followed home every Friday night, and unfortunately, I got married to her. So you know,
that happens. Once they get the toothbrush in a cup, it's done. Yeah, no. And the reason is because right now I have an N of whatever that mysterious N is. I want to add 2 more, but I want to add an N of 2 more with a specific mindset. And like we said, when Max sees the footage, what do you think, Max? You think how is it doing that? What's going on? Like, I want the phenomenon to happen to you. I want it to follow you home because I want that analytical process, that unique process that only you have to view it. You know, that's my hope.
I mean, what's followed you home now? Has anything followed you home?
Yeah.
Quick one there, L Dave, because we could be on that one for quite a bit of things following you home. But can you just answer the Uber way? Because I think it could be Nordic. Anyway,
Nordic well, Viking was something.
Because I don't know what SEC is. What is SEC? What is it? Thank you for the super chat. Anyway, 55 SEC, whatever that is. I'm not sure where that's from, Uberway, but I love you.
Oh, that's
and he's a fellow Trekkie. I can't do it.
Vulcan currency.
What is it with the symbol, Dave?
What's
just like it? I think he's talking about
my friend designed that.
No, the other one.
We used to sell these.
Oh yes.
I have no idea what you're talking
about.
The
other one, Dave.
No idea what you're
the
talking
circle,
about.
The runes.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, that's why he says Nordic or Viking, but yeah, that's.
Am I? I'm a mutt. I am a mutt. That's what I am.
You look a bit like a Viking.
I'm a big dude.
Put a bit of blonde in that hair.
Not so much, man. I got the light eyes, and my skin complexion only continually gets darker the more I'm in the sun, so it's a little weird. But do I have Scandinavian, broadly Northern European? Yeah, there's a bit in there.
Oh, me too.
With everything else,
highly.
Well, you're a fucking ghost. Look at you. I can almost see through you. You're haunting that room, Ollie. That's what you're doing. You're haunting that room. Damn albino.
I'll be honest, Uberway, I had no idea what that symbol. I can't see it, but I don't know what it is.
It's pretty Googleable.
I like it. I love it. In fact, get it tattooed on my wife's butt.
And you'll never see it again.
What, the butt or the
What?
tattoo?
Either.
So you got a $10
Thank you,
one from
Wade.
Bill Lacey coming in, man.
Bill Lacey with the $10 super chat. I sound like a Rich. Where's Rich? Goof on.
Yeah. Everyone doing shows.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah. Everyone doing shows, but the credibility is on the line. And everyone is keeping secrets, so it's BS. And I am Navajo. That's cool. I get what you're saying, everyone keeping secrets. I understand that. I get it.
Mhm.
It's just the way it is, man. I promise you, anything that I have or anyone else has, that it's as far as the government goes, and honestly, the government probably doesn't know that much. It's probably all the corporations that actually know what's going on,
Mhm.
or various government entities that are so close to being a corporation that they're basically not even a government. There's a lot of those. As far as us sharing, man, we'll share what we want to share. We don't have to share anything. Like, no, I mean, and that's part of the thing. Like, if the Department of Energy, who is currently working on alternate dimensions and trying to enter them, Googleable fact, they're not going to tell you anything, and they're using taxpayer dollars. And again, the DOE is one of those departments that's almost so damn close to being a fucking private entity. It's spooky. Yeah, I mean, I get the frustration. Wow, there's another sec 219. What is sec?
What is a sec?
1 second. I'll just get on to Scott. Scott, thank you so much for the super sticker, which is wait for it. Wait for what exactly? Wait for what Dave's about to reveal behind that.
Oh, it's Swedish, man. It's Swedish.
It's Swedish. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, look at that.
There you go. The Uber way. We'll speak offline of why Dave doesn't have a Viking symbol in the background.
No, he says, don't use Viking symbols if you don't get what it's saying. Who said I didn't?
I just like the shape of it.
Say that.
Yeah, it's cool shape.
Yeah, it is. It's a pleasing geometric pattern as well.
It looks like a crop
which is
circle.
something interesting when you think about it.
Unless that's what the things have attached to, Dave. Maybe that's what he's saying.
I thought it was just my stunning good looks, my charming personality. But yeah. Oh,
Man.
thank you for the donation. That's pretty cool.
I appreciate it very much so, and I appreciate Viking symbols, even though if I don't know what they mean. Max, so the corporations.
Hmm.
Do you think any of these big companies are looking into this? And
Sure.
do you know which ones?
I think at the very beginning, right, we talked about any and all of them do any number of things. But even more to the point, what's the reason why, right? That would be the thing. So why would I'm not going to say they're doing it. Let's say GE, right? We're going to name a big company. Why
they're doing it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
why would
100%,
GE do it?
man. Yeah.
Now, is GE looking into it? Would GE, I'm not saying they are, would GE be looking into it for the same reasons that you and I are? Well, initially, if a government shows interest and there's money to be made, that's number one among all else. Now, those that go even higher up, that guide and direct, motions and movements of companies, that's a question that, that we can make assumptions as to why they do those things, right? We all kind of have some insight or of our own mindset of what those reasons might be. So, yeah, I would say any of them, all of them, one part or another, one portion or another, because the list, like I say, of smaller companies, projects, and things that these companies get involved with is astronomically long, right? they're departments. It goes deep, deep, deep. So yes, I would say yes.
And what do you make of CERN? It's one of those companies.
It's concerning.
You're concerned about CERN?
Yeah.
I always wanted to call a video that I'm concerned about CERN. But I don't know enough about CERN to be concerned about CERN. Only that they're making, are they making little black holes?
Yeah, right. In search of the God particle, this, that, and the other, making black holes takes lots of energy. I mean, I think, the most that we've seen of it are, clips here and there, images. Perhaps that was portions of it in the Star Trek movie, right? Where they're fighting around it. But yeah, those projects like that I work on at Oak Ridge, right? We, you do things as an ant, as a worker bee, mechanical engineer. They give you problems. They like us solving problems. We like solving problems. We do things. We do our portions of it. And whoever has bought the light bulb actually is the one that, has the privilege of flipping the switch, right? We've made all those components, to our levels. We understand that light goes through it, this and that. We're making, the world's largest fusion tokamak, reactor, plasma held in magnetic fields. And right, we showed it to everyone with Dr. Octopus on Spider-Man, right? He feeds it tritium. It does all, that's exactly what we do, right?
That's exactly how it works.
Yes, that's exactly how it works. Magnet holds in plasma field. But
is that what we're really using that technology for?
That's what I mean. I didn't buy it. I don't get to flip the switch and look at the bill of sales and the descriptions of everything, that gets done. So yes, concerned about CERN. I mean, there's really smart physicists, not good intention or necessarily bad intention. We're just people solving problems. And, as it goes up, okay, working in, defense. I remember one of the things working in defense, during the interview process, the guy asked the question. I was younger then. I'd probably answer it different than now. He says, well, you're going to be designing weapons that are going to kill people. Does that bother you? I'm looking at my bank account. I'm like, no, absolutely not. Like I say, today I would have it's not a good way to be. Today I would have a different, but that's just it. That was the end result of it. And looking at the screws, fasteners, electronics, and everything else, nothing in the day-to-day activity necessarily spells deadly weapon to you, right?
What do you think they're doing something else there than what they're telling the public?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I do things I don't tell the public every day.
Yep.
There's the answer.
Yeah, I mean, it like that's the thing is people's like, well, they're, of course they are.
It was one video. I think it was talking, some documentary talking about, the liabilities of corporations. And of course, the VP in this thing you got, it may ring, in your memory when you hear it. I'm sure a lot of people watched it. But in the end, he says, wait a second. Corporations are just people. We're only doing what the people are allowing us to do, right? Every one of us is, responsible for that end result activity in one way, shape, or form or another. We can't claim oblivious when we go there each day and we do these things, right? It's not just the company. It's led by stockholders. You guys are investing in it. This is what you want to happen. Partly true, right? Partly true. And that's obscure. Only the smart ones will really be able to decode what I'm saying. I speak that way a lot, but
you speak NDA. That's what you speak. You speak NDA.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I think a lot of people don't get it. It is what it is. Okay, they've never signed one. That's what it is. They've never signed one. They've never been, hey, if you say this, we're going to ruin your life and your family's life forever and ever, and you're going to go to jail. This isn't a joke. Yeah, people are like, well, just tell them it'll be fine. It's easy to say that shit when you didn't sign something saying that, oh, by the way, I'm going to be down all the money I ever make forever, and I don't ever get to bankruptcy on it, and you're going to throw my ass in Leavenworth.
Mhm.
Nah, that's okay. I'm going to keep my mouth shut because I don't want guys with guns coming to my house at 3 a.m.
That's what Lou
That's
says.
how it really works.
That's
What's
what's
that?
calling you home, Dave.
Lou.
I'm not too much. I got to be honest. I'm not really that worried about those guys. We're all going to go to that big place in the sky together. But I do have a family, and it is what it is. Once you get a family, man, you got a lever. You got a lever. I get it. That's my lever.
Mhm.
Do whatever you tell me to do. Yeah. What does Lou say?
No, I'll get onto that in a minute. But I was just going to say, with the concerns about CERN,
Mm-hmm. Concerns about
as a man of science,
Mhm.
you look at what they're doing,
Mhm.
and I asked the question: are they really telling us what they're doing? Do you have an inkling what you think they could be doing?
Yeah, I have an inkling what I think they could be doing, and I think, for them to say, okay, so it's open in public that they say that they're trying to do small black holes, small being the operative word here. Is it small or does it accidentally become big? I don't know. It's where the concern is, right? It's
And that's just what they're saying.
that's just what they're
That's
saying.
just what they're saying.
and what they're saying is frightening enough, right?
Yeah, to the public, it's the largest, most powerful particle accelerator in the world, to publicly known, and that's what they're publicly saying.
Yeah.
I mean, any Fortune 500 company, they don't tell you. No, they don't tell you what's going on in the boardroom. They don't tell you what planning. They don't tell you what R&D is doing.
Mhm.
Hell, cereal companies who are making the next flavors for their marshmallows, they keep that shit on lockdown.
Coca-Cola.
You think CERN's not? Yeah, Coca-Cola. You think CERN's not? I mean, that Proton, the whole email system of Proton was based so CERN could communicate. The scientists of CERN, while they were designing a building, communicate covertly. Yeah, that's where that whole system came from.
I've never understood those little dried out marshmallows in your cereal. Weird.
They're wonderful.
What do you guys use?
Beans. They eat beans in England. Right?
Just like nuts, like nuts and shit, and dried apricot and dried currant.
So
healthy.
That's we
not
don't
processed sugar.
No. Why would you just put some sweets in a cereal? There you go, kids.
Pasteurized animal pus. Yeah.
My boys love marshmallow. You're not a fan of CERN, then, are you? You think they're doing good work there?
Yeah.
Or do you think all the employees? Okay, not all the employees. Do you think how many of the employees, from what you think's going on there, which you still not told me what you think's going on there, know what's going on there? Do you think they know what they're getting themselves into?
No, right? We go to school, we do the things, we do our mathematics, reading, this, that, and the other. You come out of college, they're like me. They'll tell you that what you're going to be doing is going to melt people or blow them up, and you'll say yes because your bank account is zero. But no, they're different levels. You can work on things that are ultra super high top secret. The guy doesn't care. He's not going to tell you everything, and quite honestly, you're not going to ask. You're interested in solving the problem. The way the problem is issued is for a grander scheme. He may come and say, well, I need this, this unit to cool this amount of, wattage, this kind of thing, and it'll keep these circuit boards alive. That's all you care about. So that's your compartmentalized thought. Again, the light bulb. I'm not the one buying it. I don't have the privilege of flipping on the switch to see exactly what it does. That's just compartmentalized, engineering, compartmentalized in anything. The boardroom is the boardroom. The secretary doesn't get not to hear the direct guidance of the path of the company. So if no one else got to hear the plans of buying up all the aquifers in the United States, that was given at the end. And the person selling the land doesn't know that's what you're doing. That's after the fact, after it's already done. Only then do we slap our heads and go, God damn it, it was an atomic bomb. It's
Yeah, Max makes an interesting point that I think is overlooked by the UFO community as a whole. Is Max is a different kind of engineer because he's sociable. You can interact with him, and he's still brilliant. I mean, you're definitely hands down one of the smartest guys I know. But most engineers, if you've had any experience with them, like the old engineering joke, can you tell an introvert engineer from an extrovert engineer? The extrovert engineer is looking at your shoes. You got to be like Max giggled. You got to be an engineer to kind of get it. And I'm not at all. I'm definitely not that smart. That's not what I do in my life. Is smart people things, that's for sure. But the reason, like, why don't engineers come forward? Why don't science people? I've heard that in different communities. And just Max spoke to that point. They don't typically know and or care too much. They like problems. They want to solve problems. They're overall, Max, would you say they're a pretty nerdy group of dudes who like a challenge?
Absolutely. But you know, like anything else, you have a lot of fakers too. I use we all use the engineer lightly.
Lightly.
I'll use the word smart person lightly, So guys like me that are really, calculated, that are in deep, you'll see them, right? We're the ones rocking in the corner, really into what we do. I'm not talking about the type of engineer that becomes management. It's a different guy. Those are two separate types of people altogether. Not that some aren't skilled in that. It's that generally those really good at it don't get on a management track very easily because they'll keep you in the, throwing you food in the corner. And that's kind of where I am. Just really analytical in that way. So,
they keep you doing the work. They keep you doing the work.
They will not let me out of doing the work.
Yeah. That's where they are. I mean, that's the thing. People's like, why aren't there big leaks? Why aren't there? The people who can see the whole picture are usually believers, man. They're believers, and they're not going to violate anything. I saw, and it's like, why would we talk about NDA? Why would we talk about NDAs and things that we can't? Well, I think there was a misinterpretation there. We're talking about. We're not talking about things that we can't violate. We're just giving examples of why they don't like. Why doesn't Lou Elizondo's perfect example? Why doesn't he just violate his NDAs? One, I believe Lou's a believer. I believe he's absolutely a believer. Two, they have real consequences, and all these people who want them to do these things online, no one's going to be there to help them or their families. They're not. People aren't going to hold a rally or a march for a whistleblower. It's just not. The governments will lock you away and put you in sound and sleep deprivation, and they're going to torture you. Bad things are going to happen.
Even more so, the reality than that financial. Is that none of the scientists can manage to drive for some reason, right? It's always a car accident.
Oh, no shit. Yeah, I was actually just trying to avoid that topic in general, actually.
But, there you have
let's just focus on litigation and lockup. Let's not focus on the final solution,
Dave, you say you lose a believer, but you've also said that the UFO community needs to be careful of it.
That's why. He's not a believer. When I say believer, let me be very clear. When I say believer, I don't mean he believes in the paranormal. He believes in UFO. He believes in God and America. And maybe America and God, and then maybe his family. I don't know. I guarantee it has to be one of the top two. Like I said earlier with Fravor, to a military man, there's no such thing as lying if you're following orders, right? If you believe. And I know, Max, I know these kinds. The kind of guy I'm talking about. Guys who believe. Like if you've ever met anyone who's done intelligence work, right? Like there's a difference between field operative guys, like Max was saying about the engineers. There's a difference between the guy who does the work and a guy who's in management. And there's even a bigger difference between the guy who's like a low-level manager to someone who's trusted and at the top. That guy is all about GE. He's a believer. This company's everything. He'll do anything for him. When you start bringing in flags and countries, that shit gets taken up to a new notch, to an incredibly new notch that most people can't fathom unless they've seen. And in my humble opinion, which is absolutely worth nothing, Lou Elizondo is a believer. Yeah, I think that's also why they're rotating them out. You know, who knows who the next Lou's going to be? Maybe it'll be Travis Taylor. I don't know. He's articulate. He's intelligent. He's a good guy for the position. I don't know, but not Lou. Yeah, that's not what he does. I could see Blue kicking in someone's door with a team of dudes black bagging him and dragging him out somewhere. You tell me he did that, I believe you all day long. Look at that guy. You got his picture to put back up there?
See,
yeah,
only because this will lead us on to the Skinwalker stuff, but I take Lou more seriously than I do Travis. And I know Travis has got this massive background of the scientific background and what have you. Are you aware of Travis, Max?
Other than just that little bit that you showed me, and then David sent me some stuff, hadn't you, David? I think that's the
same. I sent you stuff. I sent you his interviews.
Mm-hmm.
But it all seems like he's very, and it's probably because the problem is probably the way the program shows him as a person, which he looks like a great guy, a really nice guy, does Travis, but I can't take him seriously because of the show.
Oh wait, you got a super chat, man. It's from the Urban Way.
What's it say? I've just replied to him. I wasn't going to bring it on screen.
No. It's absolutely fine. It says one guy has I didn't know he owned these symbols. Send me your address. I'll send you a copyright check, I guess. Or maybe the people I bought it from owe you one. We'll get with your attorneys. And the other guy is faceless. You can do better than this, Ollie.
I have a face.
Ollie, he's right. You can do better than this.
Yeah.
Listen, at the end of the day,
you got 55 sec out of it, so fuck off.
People like to come on a show and talk. If they don't want to show their face, I respect that. Mm-hmm. I've seen your face, Max. It's a very beautiful one.
He's a damn handsome man.
But you don't want to show it on camera. And I've had if any guests want to come on and don't want to show their face, very welcome on here. Some people don't like to do that. And do you know what? I think that those are some of the greatest people because they've got nothing to gain from it. Nothing. Because you don't know who they are. They could be anybody.
There's my picture right there.
Afro Samurai. Yes. That is a pretty good totem for you. I got to be honest. I think that's pretty close to accurate. No, but what we were talking about going towards the so you believe
he says, I wonder. Well, going back to that, is that part of the whole point, right? You show him, but he lacks credibility because of how the show portrays him. Is that where you were gonna go with that? That's intentional, or by mistake?
That was for you, Ollie.
I am saying that I think that Lou, to me, comes across as a guy that you're aware of Lou Elizondo, Max, yes?
Yes, I did see that. Okay.
To me, and we spoke, and if Giordano was here, Rich Giordano from GoofOn, he would this puts a thorn in his side whenever we speak about Lou. but Lou for me is one of these guys that you look at and the talk is believable. Travis, if Travis is going to be the new guy, he's a one brainy motherfucker. He's got the credentials. But because of Skinwalker, the show, to me, that just makes, if he came out and started to do stuff in that sort of style, I could never take it seriously because of Skinwalker. Do you get what I mean by that, Dave?
Yeah. I think they put him on there to add credence to the show, to give it credibility, because he's credible. Like everyone else they have, who the hell are these people? This guy has a real background. I'm curious how much they had to pay him to get him on there.
Who's Dragon? You know who Dragon is?
I do know who Dragon is. So Dragon and Brandon Fugel, when they were on a Mormon missionary to Hawaii, Dragon and Brandon were there and they didn't get along, and then they became very close friends, and since then they've been best friends, and Brandon's always kept them around. But here's a very good, interesting point. He says, this is Moonlich, I think. I'm sorry. I went to public school. Reading's not my strong suit. That is up to me. My contract's NDA. So he's talking about NDAs and timeframes. So he had NDAs he signed because he worked for a telecommunications company. Absolutely get it. And his NDAs have expired, lose also no matter date. That's not true. Government NDAs are not corporate NDAs. So long as that, even in government NDAs can actually go past. So like some government, most government information, 75 years, 50 years as huge time frames that it will still be classified. Your NDA can go longer than that. Even if it's made public, you still have to tap dance around what you can and can't say because you signed it, and governments are a different standard than a corporation. And the NDAs we're joking about, if it was a corporate NDA, I'm just going to get sued, right? I'm going to lose a bunch of money, but I'm going to get sued. If you break a government NDA, they can do other things. Getting sued would be the best outcome, That's what we're generally talking about, to clear that up in case that was wasn't clear. I'm sorry. Just wanted to tap dance on that. It's an excellent point.
I think getting sued would be the best outcome. Losing both your testicles would be an okay outcome.
Yeah.
Then you have the ability to define a woman.
No, man, I'm not a biologist. I'm not a biologist. I don't know. No idea what that is. So how did we get there?
we were talking about Lou, and then we started talking about Travis. But I'm interested. Max, have you seen? I know you're not massively into the field of ufology, but have you seen the Lou Elizondo character popping about every now and again? The guy that popped up
I have
on
vaguely, seen his stuff. Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah, I remember you showing the picture of. Yeah, I have.
Always walks around with a balloon. He originally was introduced with, I don't know if you've heard of the company, to the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, which was I believe Tom DeLonge was the founder, where he has Steve Justice, Hal Puthoff, Chris Mellon, and Lou Elizondo, and is it Jim Semivan? Jesus Christ, well done, me. Yes, those people working for him. Make sure you invest. There you go.
Yeah.
Invest, people.
No.
What do you make of all that, and what do you make of Lou? Or are you kind of like, you're not that into it to know?
Not necessarily into them, to know, much more on the topic, right? These people come and go. You're already saying there's another guy coming in, so that's out.
There's a great comment, Ollie. It's Joe K. He said, "I'm pissed the guy's wearing a Hawaiian shirt. I'm Hawaiian. I tell you what, man. Let me say, get me your return information. I'll get it to the manufacturer. You guys can settle that out, all right?"
Who's put that?
I don't know, but I love him. That's hilarious.
What's he called? I gotta bring it up on the screen.
Joe K.
Joe K.
Good, man.
I like joking.
Yeah.
There we go.
And then Moonlich again, he said, just because the government says you are bond, you are not. Well, that's actually not true. So when you sign those things, depending on the government program, you're just there, bro. You're there for as long as they say, and you don't get to. You can go and work for someone else. You keep your fucking mouth shut. Yeah.
They put a gun to your chest and say, "Pay your taxes."
Exactly. If I don't pay my taxes, men with guns show up at the house. If you break an NDA with them, they'll, hell yeah. Yeah. Don't drive anywhere.
Back to the Travis guy though. I don't get that. I think people are saying this could be the next Lou guy. I just don't see it with and I think it's because, again, the whole dramatization of Skinwalker as a TV series.
Terrible TV series. It genuinely is a terrible TV series. The thing is, the government, on this topic, for some very strange reason, they're very into steering the narrative. Right? And as someone who thinks like I do, says everything that needs to be said. if you're interested in steering the narrative, what's really going on? Why? There's a reason you're doing this. There's a reason resources are put in. There's a reason you're pushing this forward. This deception, this whatever you're trying. They don't try for nothing.
There's a reason behind the drama.
Yeah, it's a distraction, right? It's a distraction. Look over here instead of over here. Ask these particular questions. We want you thinking this way. We want you thinking nuts and bolts, mechanical, outer space. We don't talk about geology. We don't talk about the locations. We don't talk about interdimensional, ultradimensional, spatial. Like none of these things.
Now, one time,
natural phenomenon.
You were going to go there. Is that still on or off or on again?
I don't want to talk about it on this.
Okay.
Yeah. What travel plans may or may not be. I did have it planned up.
Yeah, you had it planned up.
Yeah. I had clearance. I had guys. I was trying to get you to go with me.
Yeah.
We were going to go, and then things happened with. See, if I fucking explain it, it's just going to piss more people off.
Yeah.
Because it's things in places with people, and is no go. But to my understanding, that opportunity may be coming up again. So we'll see.
We're going to catch one.
Definitely. And we're going to probe it because of all the people who give it one for the go right there.
Yeah.
Teach them a lesson.
Catch an alien. Probe the living hell out of it.
Oh, yeah. Let it take it back to its friends. We're never going to that planet again. What happened? I don't want to talk about it.
I don't think it has... See, the Uber way is giving all the love from Sweden. There you go. So he's just said that he never meant any malice about the...
I didn't take it that way, bro.
I know you didn't.
It as humor. Yeah. No, Sweden's great, bro. I love Sweden.
You take everything with the humanist way, Dave. You know, when I say stop calling me at 4 a.m, you just laugh down the phone.
I do. I don't care, man. Because this is the thing I think most people... You know what? Never mind. I'm not going to give anything about too much about me anyway. But fucking, there's real things in the world, man.
And when my wife tells you to fuck off as well, you just laugh at her.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. That's your problem. I'm an ocean away. Yeah, but I don't know. What were we talking about?
I don't know. It's my fault. It's my fault.
Yeah. I love Sweden. It's a beautiful country, beautiful people.
Were we talking about that's where the meetup was going to be when we finally meet? Was it Sweden or where we
I was trying to get it somewhere fun, and
Amsterdam.
Was it Amsterdam?
We did bring up Amsterdam. Yeah. I don't care.
Definitely have to.
You know where I would like to meet? I'd like to go back to Prague. That'd be fucking blast.
That's where you said Prague. I said let's all meet up in Prague.
Go meet in Prague, dude.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah. Well, a couple of
we'd have to go live
I have
in
just
a
outside
pub.
of Prague. Yeah, there's a couple towns I love just outside of Prague, and we could go there. It's less people, less pickpockets, and when you like, if you have to, do something there. Fucking, there's no cops. You know what I mean? Prague, it's a different story. They're gonna extort the fuck out of you tourists. But
So back to ufology.
Yeah, back to
no, actually, totally I definitely want to touch on Skinwalker because Max is, even though I can't see him, his ears perked up when we mentioned Skinwalker. I felt it. I felt the force of those ears.
Where'd you feel?
I just felt like a tingle, like something about the these areas that where the veil is thin. What do you make about all that Dave was talking about before? Do you think there's areas on Earth where that is an actual thing, as a man of science?
Yeah, because and me and Dave talked about that, right? But yeah, there are areas, and you touched on it, with the stories behind JPL or any number of places, right? Yeah, I think there could definitely be something there, right? It's and I don't want to say too much because it goes back to Dave's other stuff.
We can't talk too much about it. That's the bitch of the whole thing. yeah,
But
It's-
Dave, for
it's
the audience, the stuff that you can't speak about at some point is going to become a thing that you will be on here speaking about in a way because you'll have your own thing. It's just it's not launched yet.
So here's the thing, and I don't want to make I don't want it. Here's the real reason I don't want to make that promise, right? And I probably should clear it up because I guess a lot of people don't get my humor or my how I poke. But I don't want to promise you something I can't deliver. If I told you that absolutely we're going to share,
that's what we want to hear.
We're going to share everything, and then I know what if we make a real. Here's the thing: what if we make a real discovery, right? We make a real discovery, something can capitalize, something that suddenly I can get a government contract on. Max can get a government contract on. That's where the money rains from heaven, right? You just write checks and the government cashes them, and it's fucking great. There's the goal, right? There's money for pseudoscience. Maybe I get private backing. Maybe I'm already talking to somebody about private backing, and I've already promised them I'm going to keep this shit on the down low. And I tell everyone, and this is the kicker, people won't get this about me, but if I tell you that, hey, I'm going to share everything with you, and then I get this, and they're like, okay, well, we can't do that. I just put myself in a hell of a spot that I don't want to be in. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's better if I'm just honest up front, saying, hey, man, I'm not going to. Whether I want to keep it for personal reasons, whether I want to keep it for security reasons, like the other footage where I show people's faces. I can't show those people's faces. I can't do that to them. Yeah.
And then the thing about, patents and whatnot, it's that some of the things that David's talking about are going to have other uses. It's not,
they'll have immediate other uses.
At the surface of what it says and its background. It's all the interstitial, the extended uses of it. And that's where it comes in. So, so we do something that traps a ghost in a box, but all of a sudden, all the vets in the world realize that this would be a good device for purging the anal sacs of chihuahuas. You see what I mean? So there's other uses of it.
It's like Viagra was a cold medicine until they found out it had a side effect. You know what I mean? Like it. So I don't want to set that up, and it may say, sure, it absolutely sounds like bullshit to a bunch of people, but to me, that's just what it is. I'm not going to set this up with me being dishonest out of the gate. I'm going to hold things back. We're going to hold things back because if I can go to angel investor or some ridiculously wealthy billionaire who's got plenty of money and's like, hey man, I like what you guys are doing. Here's $50 million, but I want to keep all the research because I'm that way. Oh, all right. I don't want to be like, I promised some strangers. Most people wouldn't give a shit. I would give a shit.
Or they want to use it for a show.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe. I doubt that. I sincerely doubt that. No one I know would want to be on TV. That's not the goal of any of them.
I appreciate that honesty though, because there's not many people that will say, hell, if the money's right, I'll show it.
Listen,
why would I blow my load straight away?
I'll tell you this, for money, I virtually have no limits. It's just the amount of money. It's the amount of money. Whether it's detestable, horrible, wicked, wrong, evil, or illegal. How much money are we talking about? How much money? I'll get it done. Yeah. Almost anything. As long as my family is fine and safe, everything else is on the table. But Skinwalker Ranch, yeah. I mean, I think this is the thing. I don't think Skinwalker, that area, the Utah Basin, I don't think it's unique. I don't think it's unique.
Well, you came on with your friend Dave Miller.
Yeah.
And he's like, he doesn't think Skinwalker, he says the place, the whole basin, that's the thing.
Yeah, it's the whole area. And that's, if you watch the documentary Jeremy Corbell did, they didn't just stay on the ranch. They talked to all the neighbors and people who live in the basin.
Loved that. You loved that documentary, by the way.
It was okay. I thought it was interesting. I mean, I think the work Jeremy Corbell does is interesting. I don't have anything against Lou Elizondo. All right, I could be wildly wrong. Maybe he's not a believer. Maybe he isn't who I think he is. And I'm wrong. Okay. totally accept it, dude. I'll fucking buy you flowers and write an apology. I'll go naked down the street telling everyone I was wrong. I have no problem.
He looks like a man that would love some, some flowers.
Who doesn't love flowers? Let's be honest. If you showed up at work and there's a dozen flowers for you,
no, it's sexual harassment. If you no,
it's fine. It's wonderful. Everybody loves flowers. Yeah, I don't know anyone doesn't like flowers, but I don't have anything against the guy. I believe that I recognize certain things in him, right? And
certain traits,
and people like me probably recognize them too. All right. Not that I'm special or different. It's just Max has a unique way of looking at things from an engineering perspective. I have a different unique way of looking at things. And when I see that guy, I see a certain thing. And I could be very wrong. I'm wrong all the time. Shit, I'm wrong a couple times a day. It's fine. Ask my wife. I'm always wrong. But I have nothing against him. I have nothing against Jeremy Corbell. I applaud George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell for moving Skinwalker Ranch into a mainstream conversation. How many millions of people are now talking about it that have never heard about this before? That's the only problem, is people who are deep into the phenomenon didn't like it because they're like, well, it didn't tell me anything I don't know. Well, that's fine. It wasn't for you. It was for the masses who don't know anything about it.
Yes.
Now they do. Same thing with the TV show. It's not for the diehard person who's into it. It is not. It's not for us. It's not for anyone in this chat. It's for, John Smith and Jane Smith who eat potato chips and care more about football. And they're like, hey, there's some weird paranormal shit going on. That's all they know about it. That's it.
Dave, you've just said something very interesting.
Sexually?
You just said, always after the show. You just said beforehand, if the money's right, you'll put the stuff out there. Okay.
Yeah, I'll do anything.
Yep. And you just mentioned George Knapp, Corbell, all these characters, Lou, whatever. Do you think if the money, do you think the money has twisted their hands in certain directions?
I think that's how Jeremy got involved in the first place.
Of course he did.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. That's it's not a shot at him. He's an entrepreneur, dude.
Yeah.
If you look at the guy's history, he's an entrepreneur. He's a little bit artsy of a dude. He wants to make documentaries.
I'm hoping Goofon's watching right now. I've sent him the link, and he's just like,
crazy.
he'll be seething.
Yeah,
he hates Jeremy.
I don't.
I don't.
I'd love to have a beer, talk to that guy. I have no problem with him. He's never done it.
You have a beard.
A beer.
Oh, a beard.
Dude, I would beard rub with him. We're cool. I have no problem. You know what? He and I get on the mat. We'll throw on some geese. We'll, grind our male parts all over each other and get sweaty in each other's face. See who can choke who out first. It'll be fucking great.
Choke who out first with their male parts? Is that?
Sure. I'm not my first rodeo. I'm down for that. But yeah, I mean, so he's a martial artist.
You think he's done some good work in the field?
I didn't say that. I mean, who is doing good work? Who would you say is doing good work? I mean, actual work. He's not doing work. He's making documentaries from information given to him. Let's be very clear about what Jeremy Corbell does. Jeremy Corbell is given information. He puts that in a video format. He distributes it to the masses. He's the front guy. He has an interesting background. He has an interesting way of talking, and he's fucking likable. I don't know him personally. I've never broke bread with him. I fucking would, dude. If you happen to watch this, you want to have a beer or something, I'll fly you out or I'll fly to you, whatever, my dime. We'll hang out.
Just imagine having a beer with this guy.
I have seen the logs. I have seen the videos. We have attempted shoot downs of UAPs on a regular basis. We're talking as recently as last Friday.
No, at the end of that conversation, you'll be committing mass suicide. No way.
Not me, man. I don't get brainwashed. I do the brainwashing. But
look at those eyes.
I'm a professional, bro.
In them. That's how.
No. So he does quantum jiu-jitsu, I believe it was called. Like his own.
Did he make that up?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it enough. I just saw that it was like a thing. And I know he's a practitioner.
At jiu-jitsu?
I've done a few different things in different places at times. Yeah.
But have you ever heard of quantum jiu-jitsu?
No. But he had his own studios in LA, and that's really all that matters. Who gives a shit? I'll strap on. Maybe he'll own me every
What's
Poor
going on?
choice of words. Poor choice of words. You know, maybe he'll own me every second of the day. You know, that's fine, dude. That's not the first.
Good.
It won't. Yeah, it won't be the first time I've just totally got the shit kicked out of me on a mat. Like, it's not the first. Won't be the last. I'm cool with that. It's fine. It's fine. Everybody should get the shit kicked out of them. Builds character.
Here's the thing, though. You were right on the dollar, on the pound note, whatever. We don't have a pound note. We've got a £5 note. It's not worth shit. You were right on the money when you said that everybody in this field, I don't know if you said it on this show, I think you did, but you've said it to me many times after shows.
Well, I don't think you can say that. It's not PG-13.
Nobody, all the UFO channels, all the paranormal channels, everybody's just guessing. Nobody has a fucking clue.
Most of them don't even have a fucking theory. They don't. Give me an original theory from someone. Anyone.
Well, here's the thing. And I interviewed a long time ago a guy that looks very similar to you. This person was completely blanked out. The video is no longer available on the channel. The guy made me take the video down. But there was something very interesting this person said to me, and he said that everybody's just guessing at what this is.
Sounds like a smart man. He's right. Everyone's just guessing.
Nobody has a clue.
Mm-mm. Everyone approaches it. I mean, think about it. Everyone approaches that they know. You know, people's like, well, it's not nuts and bolts. Okay, you're making a hell of a statement there. How do you know it's not?
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone says, well, it's definitely energy, it's quantum, it's dimension, it's blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's not nuts and bolts. How do you know? We don't. We don't know. And once you go in with this idea that I know of anything, you're doomed. You're doomed, man. Just form a general theory, test it, see if you can test it, if it's even fucking testable, and then you just move through, right? Wouldn't you say that, Max? Once you start proclaiming, once you eliminate anything, the elimination of anything is the proclamation that it is no more and that this is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't eliminate anything because I don't know.
And that was the whole point of what I was saying. My approach was it's going to be, you know, this is what I think. We're going to throw some stuff at it and just go from there. I'm not, you know, so prideful in anything that I'm doing, you know, just to say that, you know, I have the answer. This is the answer. I'm taking a path. There's a method. David has a problem, and I'm going to do those things to. Okay, it's hard to say. Okay, so he's back on the Nordic syndrome.
But who says I'm not Scandinavian?
He's saying he likes you both.
Well, we're hard not to like. I mean, I've taken a lot of classes. I've been trained to be likable.
If he likes us, then throw up another 55 sec.
Oh, no, you don't have to do that. It's fine.
No, wait. If we're talking about it, though, we're talking about comments. Not to cut you off, Max. This guy put. I'm sorry. I'm not assuming gender. Moonlich. L. Dave. Good reminder. Educating the children is a repetitive job. I fucking you read my mind on that one. I think that's why you see so much of this very vanilla paranormal stuff in TV shows that, again, I believe is being steered by some other hand, like the government or whatever. Because they do silly shit like that. It says, we would like to see it done, you know, ethically and degrees of dignity. I get all that. Prayers for the newborn baby. Thanks, man. That's cool. But yeah, man, you're right. And again, that's where it goes. So you have like the Skinwalker Ranch books, you have all these things. There's a reason they're trying to educate the children on this particular direction of phenomenon. I believe that. And I believe that they are starting to talk about a little bit closer to home of what these things could possibly be. Why they're doing that, I don't know. When for years, like different government agencies and whatnot have run hardcore disinformation campaigns and made people look foolish and or set them up to look foolish. You know, it's weird that now it's different. That bothers me for a lot of reasons. But
for what's to come next, or what?
Anytime a narrative is framed in a broad way, so you got to understand, like what they're doing. This disinformation starts when you're The only reason you do disinformation is because you're trying to frame a narrative. So you want to eliminate the possibilities so that you can frame in the possible. When you frame in the possible, you then lay the narrative. Once you lay the narrative, you put assets in place. Those assets put forth the foundational groundwork of what they want, right? And then you're going to build
What
that up
they
in a
want to
sensation.
build the rest
Exactly.
of the story off. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. They're building
and
their
that is
framework.
the disinformation. It's the initial, potentially the
Well, it's technically it's
ground
all
level that you're
disinformation.
basing everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all disinformation. Yeah, what they're trying to influence, and I see it on some of the, I don't know, I don't want to be that guy. I see it on some of the shows I've seen online. Is they're laying foundation for groupthink.
Oh, well,
and if you know what it looks like, you can see it.
Yeah, we've seen it for 2 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we can't talk. Let's not do that to them. But I'm just talking just the UFO paranormal, even Skinwalker Ranch. They're laying groundwork for groupthink. And again, if you're not up on these types of skills, if you're not up on how to do these things, social manipulations, like any of that jazz, you miss it, right? Because you want to believe, and that's all it takes. It's the every con man. Like how did you get conned? Because you wanted to believe he could make you rich, and that's all he needed. You just give them an inch, they take 10 miles. Next thing you know, you're broke, your account's empty, you got creditors calling, you don't know how you got there, and you lost your identity, and that person has all your money, and they're living in Thailand. And
that's that level of discernment, right? That skepticism is good, right?
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily wanting to believe anything, but you come at it with a healthy skepticism, and you say, "Hey, see last donation," and thank you. I think you're muted, Ollie.
Yeah, Ollie's definitely muted.
I am muted. Sorry, I got up.
I can't see his last donation. Oh wait, here it is.
But yeah, so a healthy skepticism and then approaching the problem there, and that's just what scientifically minded people, not necessarily engineers or just thinkers in general. It could be something non-technical. If you do that, you're gonna walk yourself at least to my own conclusion and not someone else's at the very least. So if I've lied to myself at least. I can live with that.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. You know what I mean? It's I don't know, man. There's so much more out there. It's so bizarre. And even to the people listening now, dude, for people talking about Max being faceless or who the hell am I?
Sure.
Be skeptical of both of us.
Yeah.
As you should. Even when Black Star Paranormal launches, you should stay that way. You should still be. Absolutely.
Lee thought both me and Lee thought you were the new Lou. But it's Travis.
Dude, if I was the new Lou, I would have already wrecked the UFO community. I would have used you to get on all the other shows. I would have spun my narrative, and I'm way more likable than Lou, and I'm fucking better at it. They should have paid me. And here's the thing, man, just to be a dick, if they did pay me, I would fucking do it. In a heartbeat, bro. In a heartbeat. Yeah.
Without going too far into that, but you understand a little bit about what you think he may be doing.
Yeah. No, I would bet money on it, and I don't bet, but I. Yeah.
But you said you think he's a believer.
Yes.
In the subject.
No, not in the subject. I don't know if he believes in the subject or not. I think he believes in country and God and apple pie. Mm-hmm. Again, a man like
believes
that
in America,
or whatever. But a man like that doesn't lie if he's following orders. And again, with Lou, dude, Lou and I could go to the range. Well, shit, actually, I wouldn't go to the range with Lou because I might not come back. But
you spoke about Manny's documentary.
Don't talk about his family. Just leave him alone. Yeah, like you want to talk about Lou. Keep it on Lou. Because that's what Lou's there for. He's got thick skin. I mean, damn, look at that guy's neck. He's fine. He'd be a hell of a guy to try and knock out. I'll tell you that one. Neck like that, whew. Let alone choke out. Shit. But
why he only briefly mentioned a couple of things about his spouses and whatever. Nothing personal. But
so
why would you not speak about Lou's family?
Because we don't have a real measure of who Lou is. We don't know that. We don't. And I would have Max corroborate this to a certain point, but he's faceless, and just like the people, they don't know him, they don't know me. but and my word is not gospel, obviously, but
Can be.
there are could be. I could write a new book.
Yeah.
There are people in this world that do serious things, and they only hold certain things of value, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lou strikes me as that guy. I guarantee his family is of fucking value.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know, poking at that button, what kind of reaction you're going to get. It's not worth finding out. It's not worth finding out. You know, maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just a lawsuit. Maybe he fucking shows up at your house at, 4:15 in the morning when you're going out to your car and fucks you up. You know, you don't know. You never know. And it's just not like there's three things, right? There's three things. The philosophy of Dave, right?
You have respect for him, though, don't you? You have a lot of respect for him.
Absolutely. Because here's the thing. Say he is a government disinfo agent, right? He believes in what he's doing so much that he's going to stand up and misguide the world, be what we would call a liar or a shill or a government troll. And he's willing to take that because government, God, country, and duty.
Yeah.
I can respect the shit out of that guy. Hell yeah, man. He's like, I'll stand up and be a lightning rod against everyone who will hate me. And I know what's going to come and I'm going to take it.
So I think what he's getting at is that you finally, laid out for everyone else what you mean by a believer.
Yeah. He's willing to do it.
Mm-hmm.
He's willing to do it. He's willing to take it. You know what I mean? He's willing, like all these things. And the thing you never hear him talk about, and this is why I say you should be careful with his family. You never hear him talk about them. They're off limits. That is something that never comes up. He's willing to take it. Doesn't mean that they are. And again, the philosophy of Dave, three things in life you never ever do. Never mess with another man's ego. Never mess with another man's money. Never mess with another man's woman/family. These three things, for what you may consider a slight infraction or anyone else, will get you fucking put in the ground.
And to put us, to make it slightly less sexist, never mess with your wife's shoes.
No, my wife's not into shoes. No, she didn't care. But yeah, I know that would be her rules. Don't mess with her shoes. But yeah, man. I give Lou respect. Absolutely. That's the thing is, it's hard to explain to someone who doesn't get it. It's kind of like a spy, right? Depending on the country, if you're a Chinese spy and you get caught in England, well, that guy's a spy. He's a piece of shit. Is he? I can respect that, man. He went into a foreign nation. He did shit he was in danger every day. Hell yeah, man. That's a big sack, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big sack. Lou, I think, is doing something not too much different. You know what I mean? And I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I respect him. I'd have a beer with him. If I liked having a beer with him, hell, we might go to the range. That'd be fun.
Why do you think after all the people that Rogan's had on his show, all the people in the UFO community, Travis Walton, I mean, that's kind of it. It's a great one that's up there. That's it's got a lot of witnesses. It's been there for years. Tom DeLonge, Steve Justice, he's even had Greer on at some point.
Yeah.
He's had all the people on, but he's not had Lou on the show. I know I've spoken about with that.
Lou's not competent to do long format interviews. He's not.
And also
look at that monster.
Bob Lazar Corbell, obviously he's had that, but why is he?
Joe Rogan look crazy.
Why is
Lou's not a UFO guy, man. He's not a paranormal guy. He's not a UFO guy. He may believe in them. He's not that guy.
I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, like, if I was Joe Rogan, looking at the UFO community, he got Steve Justice on the show.
Yeah. Who says he didn't try to get Lou on and Lou said no, or Lou's?
Do you think he has?
We will never know. I wouldn't be surprised. Why wouldn't he? Lou's not someone, I don't think you could put Lou down for a long format interview about UFOs or what he used to do and get a detailed conversation. I think that guy's background is probably filled with a shitload of NDAs. He's going to tell you he was in places he was never in because he was actually somewhere else, and that's a cover location. So when you ask him about the location he was allegedly in, he can't give you any fucking facts other than something anecdotal that was memorized because that's what he's supposed to put forward. His background is probably so checkered. Yeah,
You think an interview with Rogan would be
absolutely. He's a
be
very good
conflict,
interviewer. Dude has a talent for it. Yeah,
yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
I've got a Joe Rogan tattoo on my ball sack.
I believe that.
It's a little bit wrinkly, but
Send me that picture later. But no, yeah, like Lou could never stand up to that. Lou could never stand up to that. He could not do a long format podcast. He couldn't do. I'd be amazed if he could do a 2-hour show on here, because we would ask him questions. He's not going to be able to answer. He has specific answers he has to give because he's not educated on the material. He's just a guy with a good enough background to hold the position. I think whoever put him out there didn't think shit through, which is a very government thing to do. Like, oh, we're just going to throw this guy there. He's going to be great. God and country, I'm for it.
You saw my friend Rather Be Squidding on the show, didn't you? And he was on.
I did watch that one. Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah. Did you see that? I don't know if I sent you the interview on UCR, the Unidentified Celebrity Review, where they had Lou Alexander on the show, and Rather asked him about his sock accounts, and he very cleverly turned that conversation into a different thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because I have seen that show, and I don't think anyone there is going to be able to actually dance around him. Has nothing to do with being smart. It has to do with being trained.
So, but you think most shows he goes on, he can narrate
Absolutely.
that show?
Yeah, that or they have pre-approved questions.
As you guys know,
We have tons of pre-approved questions.
I've known you for 3 years now, Dave. I have never once ever had a guest send me questions in to ask them, or have I said I'm going to ask you X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
I can't imagine as a host actually getting like, this is what you can ask me, this is what you can't. That would put me off an interview.
Yeah. And they also had Brandon Fugel on there as well. They've had him on there a couple times.
Yeah.
As I understand it, one of their main people like texts with Fugel, like they're in contact, right? That's amazing.
Lou.
Is that his name?
Lou, yeah.
I don't know their names. Yeah. I happened to glance that because Brandon Fugel is very interesting to me. For a lot of reasons. I would have liked to see them ask him about his archaeological pursuits. No one's asked him that, but whatever. Yeah, no, it's an interesting show. It's a good show. I like it. It's very,
really gonna
very
have to
well
elaborate.
produced.
You are good, Dave. You're gonna have to elaborate on that. You can't just say his archaeological pursuits and then just shut the fuck up.
Somebody. That's my point. Is somebody should ask him about his archaeological pursuits. He was
Why
on a board and funded a archaeological project
to
for
where?
a long time. He has in writing dismissed it as something he was on. He was just into history, but I believe there's a little bit more to it that, you know, someone clever like a lot of the people here should dig into. You know, hey, give you a nugget, go find.
So, give him what's this nugget?
I don't know. If I knew, I'd tell. I don't know. I think it's interesting though. I do think.
What there is a certain archaeological thing that he did.
There was.
And do you know what that thing was?
Nope. I wish I did.
But this is out there for people to look at.
He was on the board. He funded it. He appointed people to it. I've seen it he put in writing in an interview that you know, it wasn't that big a deal to him. He was, you know, whatever. It's like he put a lot of years in on that. And from what I understand from reading the papers they put out, it wasn't just passing. So he's searching for something, man. Dude's looking for something. Dude has an idea and he's fucking looking for something. Same thing with Bigelow. Like Bigelow saw something when he was a kid. He had an experience. He's been chasing it since. I feel like there's more to Brandon Fugel than anyone's bringing out. And the thing is, I've seen plenty of interviews now with Brandon Fugel. He's a fucking scary smart guy. He's a scary smart guy. I think if Max and I and a few of our other friends cornered him, we still couldn't get a fucking straight answer out of that guy. He's not trained. He's just brilliant. He didn't get there by accident. Yeah.
What would you do differently if you guys were on the show?
On Skinwalker Ranch?
Yeah, if you were doing that investigation, what would you do differently to what's being shown?
I wouldn't have fucking
I'm
Dragon.
okay. I'm saying
or
to what
Thomas Winterton or whoever all these other people are.
I'm saying to what's being shown, because we don't know what's being shown. I got a clip sent to me by a friend of mine that has Thomas Winterson in the clip.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen it.
Mm-mm.
It was on.
That's not true. I've seen it.
Yeah,
I felt bad lying.
I put it out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw it. I liked it.
Yeah. What would you do differently if you're on that show? Because I say that because that's never been seen before, and nobody's done that kind of thing before. But that was one of the guys that's in the show.
Definitely Thomas and Winterton. Yeah, Thomas Winterton and Dave Miller. You can identify those guys pretty easy. Yeah, it what would I do different? It depends. It depends. What are they actually doing? They're not just filming a TV show. I get that a lot of these guys are flying in to be on the TV show, but I also would speculate real science is going on because they have real tech out there. Right? So
no doubt about it.
Yeah. So if I'm funding this, right? If it was Dave's dollars, it's Dave's dollars. I don't have that kind of money. I wish I did. But if I was funding it, would I give out the information that I was collecting? Like if it was substantial, like if I had fucking pictures of UFOs, if I had readings of some kind of anomaly that could be purported as, a dimensional opening or rift or something like that, would I release it to the public? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Probably not. Probably not. Because why? This guy's paying for it. This is all his money going in. He has questions. He has specific questions. He's getting answers. Why didn't Bigelow? Bigelow put in tons of money out there. He flew dudes on private jets just to be out there anytime something happened. He had people monitored. He used people as, I don't have to prove this, so I don't want to make an accusation and get sued. But I would theorize as a hypothesis that he hired people with certain post-traumatic stress disorders to be guards to see how the phenomenon would affect them.
Mm.
That would be a theory I would hold. And the thing is, would I do anything different than either of those guys? Probably not.
Here's the interesting thing with Frugal. He's already got the money.
He's got the money. He didn't have to do shit.
He didn't need to do that show.
Mm-mm.
I really did, and that show could have done too. It could have flopped. It could have done well.
So I know that Travis Taylor now works for a private entity. That private entity is contracted with the government for various things, and he's on that show. I would say that, like, what is it Max said earlier, right? All these technologies and things can't be developed sometimes by a corporation, even by a single country, right?
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't it make sense to partner up with endless taxpayer sugar, Uncle Daddy Sugar Sam,
Absolutely,
cutting checks?
Absolutely.
So long as you get the contract written up, so you get to keep it. That's exactly what Bigelow did. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen Bigelow's logo, the gray alien? That's exactly what he did.
What if
he got something out of there and ran with it?
What if?
Would you do anything different, Max? Would you tell the world or capitalize on it?
Well, it's one of those things, like how big is the discovery that you have? Once you do tell them, number one, you get swarms of people in that location, so that's not good for you anymore. I think it's anybody that has a bit of information, if you just want to throw a word on it, esoteric, right? They tend to keep that bit for themselves for a little bit, maybe to marinate on, sometimes just to have a bit of leverage and control. Really just depends on, the person that has it. So what do they get out of releasing it?
Exactly. What did they get? Yeah. I get what you're saying there. Max, I get what you're saying. But what I'm saying, what I was saying is to both you and Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Frugal, am I right by saying, is he a billionaire? Or is he a millionaire?
I think he's just a millionaire.
Okay, but he's got a lot of millions.
Yeah, I mean, the dude's got a helicopter, a jet, a very successful real estate empire. Like,
He's got
maybe 100 million to either way. That's a shitload of money.
Yeah.
Okay, he's on a bit more than me. Okay,
He's got a bit more than me.
Yeah.
not as much as Max, but
Definitely not as much as Max.
Oh, please.
but the guy gets into this Skinwalker. How much money would you? I mean, I have no idea about TV and all that, but how much money has this show actually made him?
Oh, I don't know. Not crazy money. Now, I did.
So why
I have
bother?
heard that he's
Why
fronting
bother?
Because in the end, you have to be getting something, and he's not going to
getting
do something that it's not getting anything. He could just be a gate. There's the thing. It's called being a gate, right? Just like I said, esoteric knowledge or something else that you just find yourself holding it for you, holding it for someone else. And I know I kind of speak, a bit vague at times, but therein lies the whole thing. It's people on this forum understand exactly what we're talking about. They get frustrated and they do comments to the otherwise, but he could just simply be a gate, just like the other guy being a true believer. He could just simply be a gate.
The reason why I say this is, Dave, you seen the video that I put out a few weeks ago with I don't know who the guys are. There's two guys in the video. One's definitely on Skinwalker Ranch, and the other guy. Yeah,
I've seen it. Yeah,
right. None of that gets shown on the show. None of that stuff. That wasn't on the show. One of the people, definitely not on the show, but definitely involved in the people that run the show.
I've heard rumor there's better video out there.
Okay, maybe I could get that from somebody. But here's what I'm saying. This guy's a big millionaire. Yeah? He's got a shitload of money.
He's wealthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's put a show out there.
Mm-hmm.
The show is a show. And what I mean by that, it is very just it's entertaining.
It's entertaining.
It's a show. Yeah, it's a show.
Mm-hmm.
He's done a good job with entertainment for the average Joe that's going to get. But let me just get to this little nugget point that it'll probably take me about an hour to get to. Why? The show is very far-fetched, but the guy behind it seems like he has a lot of credibility in his business and what he does with properties, the things he does in life, the things that he's put the pies that he's put his fingers in have turned into good pies.
Yes.
Why? This show that a lot of people have so many. You have to let me in on the joke in a minute. Here's the thing. Yeah, it takes me a while to get around to it.
Fingers in pies. I'm sorry. Juvenile.
Finger in pie. That's what we say in the UK. Is that different in America?
Might get your ass arrested.
Well, I don't know. Might have to pay extra for it. I don't know. It depends on the pie.
The thing, if somebody's had his fingers in a lot of pies, he's had his fingers in a lot of business. No,
All right.
Is that different? Is that the same?
It's different. It's different. I get what you're saying. I'm sorry. I get what you're saying. Yeah, he's a successful guy. I
thought you heard me fart or something.
No, I heard it. I was just gonna ignore it. But
good. Could it be a cover-up? Could the show be a cover-up for what's really happening?
Maybe the show is part of the agreement to get the financial support he needs to do the studies he wants. Like Max was saying, gatekeeping, but at the same time, steering narrative.
Yeah, gatekeeping, steering narrative. I know I'm hard to understand, but
Yeah.
You're not. No, Max.
no.
You're not. You put the thought into my head through the riddle.
Through the pie.
So that's what you think he's doing, Max. You think he's.
Yeah.
You think there's a genuine research going on there to find out something like how does he live forever or whatever.
Why not?
And it's
Tell me
covered up
someone
by
that
the show.
always- Tell me someone that always tells the truth. Show me.
Goof on radio.
Yeah. I don't know. So I mean, and think about this: like, as gimmicky as the show is, let's strip it down from away the stuff that's distracting. All right, they fire a laser at a mountainside, and they have video of this mountainside spontaneously glowing at night.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. They fire a laser at the mountainside; it refracts and gives them 2 points.
Mhm.
What the fuck is it refracting through? That shouldn't happen. Look at another very simple thing. Ignore the compass stuff, right? We can explain that with natural phenomenon. Explore that because they found moving water and that does crazy things.
Mm-hmm.
They have guys getting radiation burns, and then the radiation goes away. Not only that, but it's pinpoint burns. And if you follow up with the interviews that Taylor did with Knapp, he got some other kind of sickness, like radiation sickness that was prolonged. He lost some hair. He had to go through treatments. Kind of sounds like cancer. Yeah. How did that happen? Directed energy weapon in the middle of fucking nowhere, Utah?
Mm-hmm.
What? That's not for a TV show. Dude didn't do that shit to himself for a TV show. Let's just hold on to those 3 things. Ignore everything else that's gimmicky. Hold on to those 3 things. That's bizarre. Let alone something that I don't know if you saw that, Max. Did you see the one where they were the spectrum, the RF spectrum was getting pumped beyond base normal?
I didn't see.
So that was amazing. So when they're doing their spectrum analyzers, SDR, signal defined radio, they're just spanning all signals, right? Which is good because it is a spectrum analyzer. It's fucking what it's looking at. You have base noise, you have peaks. This entire thing gets pumped. Like, so when you're jamming a signal, I'm gonna say this. So when you jam a signal, you don't really jam it. What you do is you pump out so much power, nothing gets through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so much fucking noise you can't hear on a thing. But this happened on every channel that they could scan. Every channel on the fucking frequency, high to low. Same time the bass moved up.
Yeah.
So to whoever, they're like, oh, so what? That's could be no, that doesn't happen. That's a big deal. It's a huge fucking deal. That's either even intentional electronic warfare. They're only going to do it with a spectrum.
Yeah.
Right. Whether they're shutting down cell phones or shutting down radio comms or shutting down satellite feed, whatever. You don't shut down everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And not only that, signal was still getting through, which is even stranger. It's even stranger. Just take those things into account. That show has delivered gold. Period. That's high strangeness. Does it have answers? No, because I don't know. I'm not a physicist. I'm not into any of that kind of stuff. I'm not that smart a guy. How would you do that, Max? How would you do that on everything?
Yeah.
Could you do? Yes, you could do it, but holy shit. You know what I mean? And not only that, it was in a location. It's in this valley. So that's even fucking weirder. You shut it down for a geographic fixed area.
It's pinpointed in geographic area. Where's the structure that's doing it?
Yeah.
And that's the other question. Where is the structure that's doing it?
Where's the fucking power?
Yeah.
I mean, so they're like, well, the government's interested. Fuck yeah, the government's interested. They should be interested. To every telecom company in the world should be out there. What the fuck is going on? How did you do this? Where's the nuclear reactor powering your antennas? You know what I mean? Oh man, that's weird. It's weird.
But the only proof we have of all this is the show.
So there's the thing. You see the signal defined radio on a screen. Did they fake a program and everything? They could. Absolutely, they could. They could all be lying. Okay. Definitely.
Dave, let's establish what they could fake and what they couldn't fake.
You can fake everything.
Yeah.
You can fake everything. So you got Occam's razor at some point, right? Are they setting up an elaborate hoax with millions of dollars to fool for a nonsensical TV show that's probably, honestly, let's be real, net maybe $100,000 an episode, right? To a guy who has $100 and something million. He didn't give a shit.
That's the confusing
joke.
thing. That's the confusing thing.
No, that's where the calculation comes in. Or did that signal actually happen? Did that laser really refract in midair? Did that guy actually get radiation poisoning? Or did he go through a fucking round of chemo for shits and giggles? I doubt he went through fucking chemo for shits and giggles. You know, that's dedication to that's dedication right there to the con.
To the art, huh?
Yeah, man. Yep. Whatever you want, give it to the man. Holy shit. Yeah, and I'm inclined to believe Travis Taylor. I'm inclined to believe him. You know, that's me personally. I've never had a beer with the guy. We've never had a meal together. We've never hung out. I don't fucking know him. Max would have a better shot at meeting him than I do. He lives in Huntsville and he works for a company down there. You probably actually could get into that company. I bet. I bet you fucking fuck. I didn't think about that. We'll talk afterwards.
Sure, why not?
Shit. I should have thought about that.
So some people are saying, I get, but we spoke briefly about before that Travis could be the next big thing. Do you believe that he could be?
If he is, he's not going to be controlled by anything other than NDAs. I've heard him speak about his NDAs because you understand he worked for DARPA for a while, so he has some pretty serious ones with the government. He also has some with Brandon Fugel. He talks about, he signed before going on the show. He signed, everyone on that show has an NDA they've signed with Brandon Fugel. Why? If he's just a producer on a show, because he doesn't want information getting out. What is he after? It's questions no one asks. At least I haven't heard him ask it. Maybe people in the audience have. I don't know.
I think for the audience, no matter what you think of the show Skinwalker Ranch, you think about the owner. You have to think about the owner and look at that owner and look at the previous owner. Look at all the money these people had, and yet they were concentrating their efforts, maybe not just on the ranch, but maybe the area in general. Frugal's gone very dramatic with it, yes, but could what we be seeing on TV just be very, all the theatre there, just for the TV,
for sure.
But
yeah,
could there be some real science going on behind the scenes? Yes,
yeah,
because the guys doesn't need to do that to make money. That's the thing. He doesn't need to do that to make money. He's already got the money.
Yeah. I mean, it. So maybe. So if you think about it, maybe I forget who. I'm sorry, I forgot whoever said that earlier was talking about teaching children. You have to be repetitive to children. Maybe they're trying to bring this.
The
stuff.
Uber way says Dave. It's all about money, but he's all. This is what we're saying.
Right.
He's all. But Frugal already had the money.
Unless he has a way to capitalize, maybe say it's interdimensional and he's able to take away some kind of secret, some kind of singularity, right? That allows him to capitalize and monopolize on interdimensional travel, resources, hunting, mining, whatever, land availability. It all has to pass through him. He just became the world's first Google layer, whatever that, you know what I mean? Skillionaire. He has more money than it's a number. Skillion, Google's a number. But he's the richest man in the history of the world, and more. Not only does he have money, he'll have power. What if he's the first one there to exploit whatever resource is there? What if this is a naturally occurring phenomenon and it's nothing paranormal, but he finds out a way to harness it? You're talking about a guy who's able to harness something that can't be seen, that can go wherever it wants, whenever it wants, and it can interact with us. You have the world's greatest spy service or assassin or anything. I mean, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. We do have anecdotes. And they have it formed in this very childish story format that they're giving us. But
Max,
Yep.
to bring it away because this is beyond UFOs. This is the show.
Mhm.
To bring it away and to put you right on the spot.
No.
Why did Hitler send over 1,000 Germans to the Antarctic during the war?
Oh, you mean for the
In your
for the Bell and all the UFO research and everything that they were into, you know?
yeah. Why would that be such an important thing to do during World War II?
You know, the undiscovered advantages are probably there, right?
I have no idea. I've heard of, I've heard of the Bell.
Yeah.
Do you believe that that's what they went for?
Or something to help create it. I mean, if yeah, potentially that and other things. I mean, you know, any number of documentaries are constantly talking about things that they've had. You know, we know where all those scientists went, right?
So where do you I don't know how far your knowledge goes back when it comes to the subject of ufology, but where would during a war, because NASA they get a guy that works for them that sends them to the moon. Yeah.
They get a guy that works for them from that crew that, you know, makes the foundation of the rocketry that eventually gets us all there. Yes.
So the Germans they go to. Do you think there's anything that is in common there with the Germans going to Antarctica to look for this bell, and then the US getting one of the German guys to come and work on your space program
and bring a bunch more with them? Yes.
Elaborate.
So during that time, you know, command of the skies, command of even farther out. I mean, so this stuff goes unnoticed. You know, we do, you know, rocketry, we do, you know, all the things, you know, that we did with the moon. We go into living in space and everything else, right? I mean, you know, space station, shuttle. We get a plane, a space plane, if you want to call it that, the shuttle that's, you know, reusable, right? So we go from throwing away whole rockets, just catching capsules. So we've been advancing it all this time, right? And then in the 80s, there was a short stint of, you know, Star Wars, right? Whatever, you know, happened with that. What was the next thing about Star Wars? So now you fast forward to now, we don't really hear much else about that program, but we're almost like looped back to, we're looking at rocketry again, right? So we went forward an extent, making really good headway. We built a space shuttle. The Russians built one 5 times bigger. You know, it's we've seen, you know, pictures of advanced space planes that were drawn. We only see things that look similar later on used by the military specifically. And now here we are, we almost done a complete 180. When we say under the, you know, the guise of cost, we go back to, we're looking at rockets again. We go forward to go back without, you know, we've advanced in computers by far, extremely advanced. But as far as the material, I don't mean materials in materials, the actual structures themselves, you know, what a spacecraft is and what it looks like, we seem to turn around and go backwards again. You know, we didn't get to see that next level, or we haven't seen it without, you know, very much explanation as to why. If you, and surely not just me, any number of others that do advanced concepts have, you know, drawn things similar, at one time, you'll see in different movies theories on, maglev, things that would launch craft into space. There's energy concerns as to whether or not that could legitimately be done, but we just stop advancing at a certain point. And to me, that's the interesting thing is, like you mentioned, what was it in World War II, World War I, whenever command of the sky through all the wars, and now here we are now. Outside of computers and technology controls and those kinds of things, the craft itself, do you see much advancement?
I think when I was asking about the Nazis going to Antarctica, and you guys getting Vera von Braun working for NASA, is why does one man have all the, because am I right by saying before, and I could be totally wrong here, but wasn't the Russians, they were going to make a solid state rocket that would just go up, and it would have no what's the words I'm looking for? The bits that break off.
The stages that.
Yeah. So, but Werner von Braun, he came up with the rocket that it would break off, and it'd have all these little bits that would take you out because it would lose its load. So
staged,
multi-stage rocket. Yeah. So why this guy? And he also made a warning, apparently, before he died, about a false alien invasion. This is what I've heard.
Yeah, it's granddaughter or daughter or somebody, mentioned that in some documentary. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I kind of want to know what your thoughts are about the whole Nazi thing with in terms of NASA going out looking for something in Antarctica.
That's right.
The guy dying, passing away, he passes a message on to somebody else to say that possibly we're going to get a false alien flag invasion.
Yeah. Because who is the alien? If he says it's false, who is the alien? Who is that saying that the alien is? If he's saying it's false, right? Any technology well beyond our comprehension is only seen as magic. But who is he saying that alien is? It's right there on the tip of your tongue. You just have to say it.
Us.
Yes.
So you're telling me the guy?
See, David sees exactly what
the guy.
I'm gonna let him work through it. I can see the hamster spinning and the wheels turning. He's gonna get there.
No, I'm there. I'm just surprised. I think the reason why I'm quite surprised, Max, is because your friend James. I don't know if he would have said that.
Yeah, that's possible.
You two both have done great work for your country, but think very differently.
Something. I mean, look, the guy speaks Klingon, right?
This is true.
Sweet guy.
It's a great guy.
Do that to him.
Absolute pleasure to interview. I'd like to get you both on together.
Yeah.
But do you think that in terms of the cogs that are spinning, and I'm not just going to say in the US, I'm going to talk about the world now.
Yeah.
Are possibly spinning against themselves.
The operative word that he said was false. That's the right.
So when it comes to UFOs, aliens, abductions, Do you believe that it could be us?
Why not?
Breakaway civilization. Don't know.
Yeah, don't know, but why not? I mean, right? We talked about that before. Here the alien is supposed to come, and for some reason they're just so altruistic that they're demonstrated as either loving or hating us, and it could potentially be both, right? And then von Braun said false. You're not an alien for all intent that I could understand, right?
Yeah,
So,
I think the reason why I asked this,
and that okay, so you extrapolate from that, what technology was there for him to say enough and say false? What was supposed to be believable that a message comes all the way to now? Remember, I just said, it seemed like a long train, and maybe you're just now getting it. I just described the whole kind of what our spacecraft looked like. We've had conversations on here, us versus Tic Tac, our aircraft. Yeah. I gave words on, here's the look of certain planes, and we only see it militaristic wise, right? In military use. But everything else, and here we are back to sticks. We're back to bottle rockets again. So now, then you mentioned, right? It all falls into place. You're keying in on this show, so it all falls into place. And you mentioned von Braun and what he says on his deathbed, and the operative word is false. We just threw that in with the word. Technology so advanced that we only, those of us that aren't in any understanding are going to think it's magic. But he said false, alien invasion. So what technology do they have?
You see, I don't necessarily think we've advanced as much as I think we should have done, especially when it comes to rockets.
There you go. You're keying exactly in on what I'm saying. And I'm just a worker bee, right? There's DARPA. There's any number of other agencies.
DARPA. Hell, there's yeah.
No, Dave, I'm going to let you take this one up with Max, because this is.
Oh, no, I was going to turn it. I was like, Max has a paperclip scientist anecdotal story, don't you, Max? Could you tell it, or you don't want to?
Oh, the one, he was a legit, like, von Braun too. I think said it on the other show, right? And
I think
von Braun, too, guy, and it's like the whole thing about, I asked him other questions, but this one about the thing with Mars, and that's kind of what we all agreed on, is that are we going to Mars? You just kind of it'll be robots first. And Dave, I think you're talking about the other story about the actual yes or no question. The answer,
man, I'm not trying to paint you into a corner, bro. You share what you want to share.
Anyone of any knowledge that can understand it, the greatest question that I could ask someone that was, yes or no. I want an answer, yes or no. He grimaced, the mouth turned into a line, like a straight horizontal line, and he shook his head, no. There you have it.
And that says a lot.
Sorry, say that.
You got the ears
say that again. Say that again.
You got the ears to hear. That's it's a big deal, man.
Say that again.
All right. I asked him one of the biggest questions you can ever ask a guy from that time frame. That's saying everything.
Who did you ask?
A question.
Let me fill in. I'll fill in an ambiguous way. A top tier paperclip scientist, former Nazi, von Braun. He's wave 2, right? Wave 2 of the paperclip guys. Round two of the picks.
Second.
Fucking brilliant dude. And if you know what that is, then you know what it is.
So Max asked.
So these are the guys who built the space agency. They built our modern rocketry. They built these. These are the brains that pushed us past anyone else. If you could ask them one question, and Max asked them that question, whatever that question is, whatever that question.
Send out your herd of those that are smart and dumb in your listenership. Don't ask.
Yeah, it's a big IQ question right there.
And then just The mouth turned into a horizontal line, like I don't know, like Charlie Brown on Peanuts, and the head shake was in the left, right, no fashion. Didn't say a word. Listen to my question. My question was in plain English. No. It will be robots first. We're back to matchsticks, to bottle rockets.
Didn't go anywhere. We're not doing anything. We're not moving forward. Why? Max, did you get the text I sent you? That's his company.
I mean,
check it later.
I get that robots would probably be, if there is an extraterrestrial life that's intelligent, it would probably be a robot that interacts with it first.
Will it?
Probably.
Will it?
You're gonna have to elaborate on will it, Dave. You know, I'm Tim Nice but dim.
It's all right, man. It's all right.
And I said that the probes were essentially unmanned, but yeah, we're interacting with robots.
They're unmanned to the ability that we understand what something is manned.
You put a conscience.
Our definition of manned, correct?
You put a human consciousness in a robot.
There you go. That's one.
That's what we're working on right now, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we're trying to chip people's heads, right?
Yeah.
So that's what could be here. That's why fucking alien greys have no testicles. Because they're robots.
I thought Greer said they're military clones.
I don't know, but a robot would never need a knob unless your wife ordered it.
What's the point of being alive, man? If you ain't got the bits to make things fun, what are you doing? You know, if I get a clone, I want to.
You could be an old guy that just can't. You know,
if you can microchip your head, you can get access to a damn blue pill.
And Elon Musk could just provide you with, you know,
better knob.
Robo dick, whatever.
That's what the whole brain chip thing's really about. We break.
Oh God, I bet Elon Musk will fucking Neuralink to that straight away. The dirty bastard.
Oh, you know he will. All those kids. Yeah.
That's funny.
I don't know. I don't have anything against that guy either.
I don't. I love it. He's going to take. He's going to take us to Mars. Apparently.
Well, I mean,
I don't know about that. I don't think so. Let's see if he can get us to the moon first.
I don't think it has
or out of low Earth orbit. I'd like to see anyone get us out of low Earth orbit.
What do you think?
Let's fucking start there.
Okay, Max. What do you think is Starship? What he's built, what he's working on.
Okay, so what his talented group of people that oftentimes go unnamed, but they have created. Yes. I mean, yeah, it's fine. It's there.
Do you remember watching the when Starship launches? They're going to orbit the moon. And it's going to be certain people that have paid to orbit that moon.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but one guy from Japan who is I believe an artist or a fashion designer has bought every ticket on Starship.
Why in the hell?
So that was an open ticket for anybody to buy a ticket. He has bought every seat.
Okay.
On Starship.
He wants to give them away, or what?
No, he wants to go by himself.
Okay.
I'm not going to ask you about the conspiracy behind that, but I'm going to ask you: should that even be a thing that is allowed?
I mean, you know, Elon Musk is offering space travel under the guise of a so-called private company, which we've already covered that part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And someone's willing to pay the fuel expense. it doesn't bother me. I don't have a dog in that. I am not interested in going any way, shape, form, or fashion. Who am I to? Okay, should it be allowed that anyone be that rich? I mean, that's almost as, you know what I mean? That's that's almost as bad of a question. You know, I would not feel that someone shouldn't be allowed to buy every ticket.
It reminds me a little bit of Willy Wonka, you know,
Sure.
and the golden ticket. Like,
Yeah, but
do
people
you remember that scene where in the factory where I think it was Violet Beauregard or whatever, and her dad's got everybody unwrapping the golden ticket.
Yeah.
So this guy just purchased every single ticket for this rocket that's gonna orbit the moon for commercial space.
Yeah.
Anybody who can afford it can buy the ticket.
So the rich people that are crying, I really should shed a tear for them. Fuck off.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I find it odd that one person
I would do
is going to be witness to that moon orbit.
And
I would absolutely do it, dude. If I had billions of dollars,
because you could take your mates, Dave.
Yeah.
The fuck those guys. I go by myself.
All right, then you put your mother-in-law on it. I'd put my mother-in-law on it. With it, I wouldn't go.
What's the safety rating of this? I got some people I'm going to put on here. Hey, you guys want it? I can't go. Yeah. No, I mean,
I don't have a problem.
Yeah, he's got the money. He can do it. He did it.
And that's just it. He's not buying what we wanted, right? In the U.S. During the Obama years, remember you couldn't find a goddamn box of 22 cal ammo. That's more on our lines, right? When he's standing in front of Walmart and we're trying to get 22 cal ammo and he buys everyone, then I'll be pissed.
Yeah.
But him just buying all the tickets that I could give a fuck all.
Yeah. I'm not going. It doesn't matter.
No, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's Max and I have had this conversation before, and it's an interesting. So I like to see people. This is just, I don't know, maybe I'm just going to throw this out there just to troll the people watching. But like, if you're a flat earther or a round earther, what difference does it make?
Absolutely knew you were going to say flat earth. I had a feeling.
What difference does it make if you're not getting off whatever we're on?
Off of it.
Dave,
we're not getting off it. It doesn't matter.
Dave, do you realize that I've now got a Wikipedia thing on YouTube below me right now saying,
no way.
An explanation. That's what happens on YouTube. If you mention flat earth, you get a Wikipedia thing saying what?
What if we hit the trifecta?
Okay.
I'm not gonna. I can see him. I can see him.
Sorry, Dave. Go on. I digressed there for you.
I'm not gonna do that to you, man. Oh no. But I mean, the logic is sound. What difference does it make? Mm-hmm. We're not getting up, right? We're not getting off. We're not getting out. We're not. Mm-mm. You know, all we're hearing are promises. We can't get out of low Earth orbit. Or at least I haven't seen proof of that. I mean, yes, okay, West and China have a Mars rover. Anyone got proof of that? No?
Dave, okay. You're talking about flat Earth with the wrong guy.
Why?
Because
Max is a contractor. He'll believe what you pay him to believe. I'll believe what you pay me to believe.
There was a guy I worked with, and it's the greatest saying that a contractor could come up with. He says, an hour unbillable is an hour of life not worth living.
Yeah, that's right.
He was a true contractor to the heart.
To the heart right there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Max, have you ever asked, have you ever had like NASA guys ask that are flat earthers?
No, I don't.
I couldn't even get
that. Don't answer, Max. Don't answer, Max.
Don't even go around talking about it, right? It's, our conversations are, did you solve this or that problem? Or what's the yield stress of 6061? I can't remember, that kind of thing. It's not, no, I've never, seen a group of guys. It's not that same place. Right. Those kinds of conversations obviously are carried outside, if they are, but,
Do you think flat earthers are stupid?
No. got a theory, got a belief, like anybody else. It doesn't affect me, and my mindset goes to the root of just like what David said, and me and him have talked about that. It's like, what does it matter? It's a bigger problem. Meanwhile, my light bill needs to be paid. So, but I'm not going to necessarily, say stupid. I mean, there's other things. Look, all right, we harp on this one. This is where people jump off your channel. Right now, we got people in this world that are engineers that believe a man walked across water. Someone rose from the dead 3 days later. We have devout people that are good people, very smart people. I wouldn't call them dumb just for that belief, right? I mean, so what? The flat earth theory is no worse than for God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten son. Right?
What if he did?
Crickets.
Yeah, crickets on that one.
But what if he did? What if he did?
See, that's Max and I have talked about that because I'm a guy of faith. I absolutely do believe these things, but I also understand the point of his argument. It's a logical argument. It's no different than if we were to go down to.
I was
Mormons,
an atheist
Catholics,
until I met you, Dave.
Yeah, I mean it is, and that's Max's, and that's for his reason. But the point is, we can have a conversation about it in a realistic, rational way. We're not going to change each other's minds. And we've been friends. Holy shit, Max, we've been friends for a long time now.
10, 12, 13.
Something like that. Yeah, 13 years, I think. Or 12 years? I don't know. So it's been a while. Yeah, it just is what it is. See, that's the thing, is we can hold differing viewpoints. That's fine. That's something that I think is lost today. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But Max is still the guy I'm going to call to go investigate the paranormal. You know what I mean? Hey, I need something brilliant built, and I can't do it myself. Not my asset. It's not my strong.
And
suit.
I think it's fantastic that a man of faith, paranormal, customized dildos can be friends with the man of science.
Yeah, why couldn't we be?
Yeah,
exactly.
The two aren't necessarily mutually exclusive.
Not at all,
anyway, right?
Not
I
at
mean,
all.
what if, what if I was, right? We just happen to be along the lines of Christianity. Why? Because we're here in the United States. What if we were born in India and it was something else?
And see, that's
the other things sacred. I'm not just going to order a burger in front of someone that's Hindu or whatever the case may be. It is what it is. That's what the Hindu guy won't go to where he's supposed to go and is comfortable, or
and that's the thing is like, so Max is very well read in various religions as well.
Yeah, extremely.
Yeah, we've had, so that's the kicker is, and I know that Max likes to fucking troll people with this shit too, but we've had pretty good at my kitchen table, by the way. About these things, and that's fine, man. That we should be discussing these things. That should be part of it, because anything that wraps you in a construct like that, and you're not questioning it, you're just a slave to it.
Besides, it fits with aliens, right? I mean, what else could God be but an alien? I mean,
well, I mean, so if you Judeo-Christian
not from here.
Yeah, so I mean, Judeo-Christian beliefs are based off, the Hebraic worldview, right? Like that's where it goes. Okay, so if we actually start looking at the various things, whether it be in, Daniel, right, or Samuel, or these other occurrences throughout the Bible, Exodus, start piling them up with other things. So we have these beings that are terrifying of light with wings, right, that come out of nowhere and they're scary as shit. You ever heard of a Valkyrie?
Yeah.
You got robed beings carrying things around the earth that bring people knowledge and a way of life, and you have another serpent-esque being that asks for blood sacrifice. And one gives knowledge with rules and farming, which we can see in South American cultures, right? They have these gods, and they're white, which is weird because they're all brown. They can bring fire down from the sky to defend themselves, and they teach farming methods, where the other one teaches knowledge through sacrifice, and that's how you conquer. And it's this weird balancing act. Okay, then you got the sky people of Peru. Then we can move into Native American lore. They come from the sides. We had the Navajo guy earlier. What did they look like? You know, it doesn't end. Then you can go to like the Tuatha De Danann from, you know, Irish Celtic folklore, and you start breaking them. They came here in these ships from another place, and they burnt them to stay here, and they lived here for ages, and they could do amazing, powerful things, but they mostly kept to themselves. And you can go through cultures, through the Nordic gods, like look at that, and the German gods, which are that, and just Northern European into Russia itself.
And there's a whole host of them in Africa too.
And a whole fucking host of them in Africa. And you know what? It's very, very fucking similar.
Yes, it is very similar. I mean, you know, with modernized Africa, so to speak, you see a lot of, you know, what's typical Christianity or some, you know, looser forms of this or that. But the really old world stuff, yeah,
it's very similar. Yeah, not modern rules that are. I mean, the thing is, if you're going to pick a faith like, say, Christianity, that's your go-to. Okay, so you're with it. You're with the new interpretations. All right. Well, there's a shitload of verses left out in the new interpretations of the Bible no one talks about. And they're pretty fucking important ones. And they have to deal with exorcisms. Like, you know, if you get the new NIV version instead of the old King James version, they totally left out the prayer and fasting in Matthew. So, you know, these only removed by prayer and fasting. They left that out. That seems like pretty fucking important, considering some demon just handed Jesus's main guys their ass. I feel like you probably should have left that how-to in there, yet we took it out.
Yeah, or someone took it out, right? Follow the
someone took it out.
A canon set up where, you know, it's set by a group of people, the same ones that we bitch and complain about right now.
And see, a lot of people look for rules instead of faith.
Yes.
Faith is a different thing than a religion, right?
For sure.
Yeah, a religion is a set of order, rules. Mm-hmm. Donate this, do that, follow this, as opposed to faith and moving forward that something's maybe made all this and greater. And that's a different thing. You know, and again, like Max said, you know, religion and creation, I think a lot of people put them in hand, but I don't know if they are. Yeah. Right. I don't know. You know,
Max,
Australia.
Do you believe there's a lot of the scientists could be wrong when it comes to what the hypothesis?
Good God, the beers are
hypothesizing about, you know, when it comes to our planet.
Oh, well, sure. And the thing is about a scientist is that, you know, if he's being honest and genuine, and no matter how much it hurts, he admits that he's wrong.
I think I need to elaborate on that. I meant about God.
That's exactly the same thing, right? Given enough evidence, right? Okay. I understand that people, you know, believe wholeheartedly what they believe, and that's just fine. They can believe what they believe. I'll believe what I know. Okay. And it's like I say, there again, okay, so if we, you know, look at Revelations, and it says, you know, in the end times, every knee will bow. So what that says is that no one will be able to deny this existence called God. Every knee will bow. Okay. Right. So I think the solution and the answer would present itself. It says that you'll be judged by what you've done, not by what you believe. It's judged by what you've done. It says that, you know, someone will tell you, here I am walking the streets, or I'm in this house, come down off the roof, and you're not supposed to. You're supposed to be a skeptic until the end. So
it even talks about
because the very elect will be deceived, right? That's just it. You know, we're not just supposed to be gullible, and to the offset, not defining what, you know, Christianity or the three main religions or whatever you want to call them, or any other. We see real, you know, travesties of mindless sheep that really give a bad light on religion, or, you know, just to encompass it all, Christianity and what that is, right? So, you know, be skeptical of any number of things. It doesn't, you know, I remain healthily skeptical, and we have to find and figure those things out. You know, there's what I've heard, at least from a Jewish community or people that, you know, I was like, I wonder why is it that some Jewish people are, you know, atheists or whatever the case may be. And some of them go to the story of, if these things were true, why did we suffer the Holocaust? And that's a very good question, right? And that Holocaust can be shared by anybody. There's any number of Holocausts that any, race or people have suffered throughout history, and they can ask the same question. And it's God can speak for himself, herself, itself, and I don't have to speak for it. And I think that's where people that may be considered atheists or people that don't necessarily believe are just right there on the cusp of the mindset of we'll wait and see, is that let's let him speak for himself for a bit. We've heard everything that people have to say for speaking about an entity that they may or may not have ever met, can neither confirm nor deny. I speak for myself here, and we'll wait and see for it to speak for itself when the time comes. And until then, you're right. Christianity or any religion doesn't necessarily own the rights to what it is to be a moral or a good human being by far. There are people that carry Bibles that march off in the war and rape people and shoot them in the back of the head all day long. So,
Max, I don't think any religion has the right to say
exactly.
I think every religion is guessing.
Yes.
It's just like us. We're guessing. I think everybody's guessing at life.
Yeah.
Every motherfucker there is out there. And by the way, in the chat, I'm not tipsy. I've only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's a light night. It's a light night.
I had 2 before, but they're only light beers.
But it's over 3 hours. That's not
the light.
That doesn't count.
It's over 3 hours.
2 an hour.
If you coast it out, if you coast it out, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll
be fine. I've got. The worst thing that affects me is the bladder, but I have a clear mind if I'm drunk. So fuck you. I love you. I'm kidding. I love you all. Love you all. I'll drink you all on the table, including you, Dave. It's odd. It's odd how every religion all has the same goal. Well, actually, it's not odd, but I sometimes wonder if that would ever be the same thing on another planet. If a civilization started out and they thought, oh, something must have created us.
Or if they came here and we were to tell them that,
what is it?
That our specific version of God created you too.
Wait a minute. We have other planets. We have proof of that.
There's some dots.
Said he created worlds upon worlds. That's not a fucking definition of exoplanets in a universe. It could be stacked extra dimensionally.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Can't get there.
Can't get there. Not like this.
Not
then you start getting, and then that's why Matt. That's why Max is so good at this, is because we can have that. I'm a guy of faith. I am. It just is. I move that way through it. It's fine.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
That wasn't me being.
Oh no, it's fine. That's just that. I don't need to jump to defend it. It's fine. I understand where the questions come from. But so consciousness is that and understand these things that I think and pursue. I don't find them in conflict with my beliefs. If anything, I'm trying to find a way, maybe to better commune with my creator. Right? That's part of it. However that is. If I can find the lining of the cage, right? If I can find the bars lead to a door somewhere.
Yeah.
Or at least I can find a maker print, that would be something great.
Yeah. But and then just to ask, what is it, right?
Yeah.
Why are we seeing these things now? An alien, a spaceship, a tic-tac, and like you say, they've seen similar things then, whatever that is. And we're still seeing it.
Still
10,000 years, 50,000 years, 5 billion years, whatever.
Yeah.
Still seeing them.
They found a cliff in the Brazil in the Amazon is believed to be 13,000 years old, and it has brontosauruses and shit drawn out, but it also has things in the sky. You know,
Awesome.
how do we know we're not a fucking ant farm on God's shelf?
Terrarium. That's it.
Yeah, we're a terrarium.
Yeah.
That's I wasn't going to say that because that would lead back. But anyway, Max likes trolling people. But yeah, we don't know. We don't know what we don't know, and I accept that.
Mhm.
And I want to move forward. I want an understanding. Like the thing is, people say, "Well, one religion's right. How are they not all right? How are they not all wrong?"
Okay. Yeah.
You know, maybe they break. That if you look in like their rules that are given to their people, hell of a great thing for people who live in the desert to live by. If you go to like, you know, Odin gave the, you know, advice to the Nordic peoples that were handed down by some fucking good advice. If you live in a warrior-esque culture up in the north in the cold, you know, don't just go rolling into a fucking house before your eyes adjust. Carry a sword with you. Stay warm. Feed. You know, like take care of the stranger on the way because you don't know when you're going to be a stranger. Okay, sounds pretty simple. As you know, be kind to the stranger because you don't know when an angel will be in disguise.
Right.
Yeah, man.
So I mean, and to
It's
that
weird.
same
What
thing,
are we?
Here
Yeah.
it was. There was a book written called, you know, the Ashanti Proverb. So what it is, it's works of this collection. Some British guy went over there. Here it is. These people that have this, you know, high sense of morality and don't know about our Christian God. How is that the case, right? And a lot of those things are similar. They're common sense, right?
And if you look into consciousness, people are programmed, one, to worship something, two, to seek, right? And if you get into whether it be meditation, if you believe in astro travel or not, and that comes down to the nature of what is consciousness, what are we, right? That's a very hot topic right now, depending on the circles you're in the technology and platform. It's a fucking big one. You know, that's why you got people trying to throw patents on psilocybin and DMT, like all these other things. They want it themselves, but it's a naturally occurring molecule. So good fucking luck on that. Who's to say enough of that chemical? I don't know. I need to stop there, but I can't even. I want to go forward with that train of thought, but I can't.
I have to drop this one in. I've got a good question that's popped up in green from one of my channel members, but for some reason, StreamYard didn't bring the question up, so I can't put it on the screen. But UFO Man asks, "What are we before we are born, alive or dead?"
I mean, that's a good question. That's a fucking good question, bro. You're so close to the point of the I fucking want to make, but I'm not. I don't want to.
I can't get his question up on screen, but UFO Man,
I see.
Great question, but StreamYard for some reason has not got. They do this StreamYard, mother StreamYard.
UFO Man, great question, bro.
So he asks, "What are you before you are? What are you before you are born, alive or dead?"
Here, I pose a counter question: is there such a thing as death?
I hope not.
I mean, just depending on the culture, right? You're a part of a different culture. They may have an answer. Their answer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to physics. Let's think of
them.
physics, right? Like matter is
Energy.
neither created nor destroyed. Energy exists.
Right.
We know that. We know we are. We have electrical signals. Right?
Yeah, my sister defined it interestingly. One, you know, and I don't, you know, sad to say, when she was a nurse, you know, she, you know, and nurses and doctors probably have the most intimate knowledge of this, you know, having to witness people die. And that's a sad thing. I've never, you know, watched the light come out from a person's eyes, if anything. But, you know, my sister, one time she says, you know, explaining some things about the heart. And she's a nurse, so, you know, cardiologist necessarily, but, you know, she's reading charts or whatever they do. Any nurse do that, I imagine. So she says, you know, the person's heart, it starts racing. You know, it's trying to keep the person, you know, alive or whatever the case may be. And eventually it just gets tired and exhausted. And the electrical impulses, it has nothing left. The battery is literally gone. Mm-hmm. I just thought that was, and you talk about the energy, right?
Where did it go?
Where did it go?
Where'd it go? And I like that. I saw a UFO Man put, but we all eventually die. Do we? Do we? Or is that just a fucking concept we wrap around? We're no longer here. I'm no longer. When I die, I'll no longer be here. I'll no longer be old L. Dave. I won't be here.
Yeah.
But does that mean I'm just gone? I'm gone from here. Absolutely. You got me on that. Maybe. I think. I don't know. But does that mean I'm gone? I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a fucking big question, right? I don't know. If I knew, shit, I'd be selling the answers to the trillionaires in this world, right? I'd be one of them. They'd be coming to me for the answer. I'd be handing out little fragments.
Brandon, Frugal, is that you?
Shit, I go to people with real money. Yeah, I don't know. I like the mystery though.
Do you think? I mean, I've come.
Yes, I think psychedelics are important. What?
I think I need to try more. I've come a long way since when I first started this show. I spoke to many people on the journey, but there's a few people, you've been one of them, Dave, that has made me think differently about this subject. I think it was when I first spoke to you that my channel, I took a turn on the channel with what I do and the way I think about it. Because I used to think about nuts and bolts, UFOs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not the whole nuts and bolts, but whatever it was that was up in the whatever was up in the sky was the nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And it was definitely some sort of object from another planet visiting us.
I mean,
maybe doing experiments, whatever.
Probing.
My perception of the whole thing has changed. Thinking maybe this little blue dot that we're on is significant.
Good God, beer 8.
Oh my God, motherfucking beers. Significantly.
God damn,
I just can't say that word. It's not because I'm drunk. Significantly. Thank you, Dave. More special than we let on. You know, the planet that we live on, whatever we live on.
Yeah.
If you're a flat earther, in the chat, send me $100. Whatever we live on, I think it's more. I've come to the conclusion that it's a special place.
Sure.
You know, maybe we are not what the scientists are saying. You know, life is everywhere. It's teething. This whole universe. We're finding these little planets that are going past the telescope, and we're seeing these little vibrations on when we're looking at a sun, and we know it's a planet, and we can tell it's in the Goldilocks zone. So fuck you. We know that life is absolutely everywhere in the solar system, and we found the solar system is teething with life. It doesn't answer the questions that we have about our own planet and the weirdness of this place that we live on.
That's right.
The amazingness of it, man.
Yeah.
The amazingness of this place that we live. So UFO Man asked another question. He said, why are we born just to die? I don't know, man. But I heard an answer I really, really.
It sounds like a James Bond film.
Oh my God, it does. That would be a great James Bond film. I hope they make that. Yeah.
Why are we born just to die?
Yeah. No worries. So if I'm going to quote a guy, and I want to give. So there's another channel. Sorry, Ollie, if you don't care. The other channel is called Vigilance Elite.
Get him on.
Probably could actually. So the other channel is called Vigilance Elite. The guy's a former Navy SEAL, CIA contractor. Started a YouTube channel. He's a really interesting cat. Anyway, he's dealt with some shit from things that he's done that he was uncomfortable and whatever. You know, he had his issues. Everybody has their issues. He turned to psychedelics for help, mushrooms and other things.
Like
and
Rogan.
He had the guy. What's that?
Like Rogan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rogan just didn't have anything to deal with. He just likes to fucking get really high, which is fine too.
Apparently, he said after the whole thing with the press, talking about him and saying that he was spreading fucking fake news and what have you, he turned to mushrooms.
Yeah, cool. So So the guy's talking about the healing and things that he did, and a lot of people use mushrooms for that, and other things. So the guy went, Sean Ryan, is his name. He went to a facility to get this done. I think it was in like Mexico or whatever. And he's like doing the trips and they're guided and all that jazz. And he has the guy on who runs the facility on a show to like advocate for it, because a lot of soldiers, a lot of people with PTSD, a lot of people with trauma, various things, addiction issues, they go and they get these treatments and it really helps. Mm-hmm. And he's asking the guy, Sean Ryan is asking the dude who runs the facility. He says, hey, you know, have you ever had anything? Because you've done this. He's like, yeah. He's like, he was talking about one of the biggest trips he went on where he had full on visuals and, you know, they're doing heroic doses of shit and they're really going out there. And he said that he was in like a fucking field and he's talking to a tree and the tree's talking back to him. And he asked the tree what the purpose of life was, and the tree looked at him and was like, to flower. Mm-hmm. And I was like, fuck, that's a good answer. So why are we born to die? If we die, what's the purpose? To flower, man. Fucking live the life, make memories, have a fucking great time. Mm-hmm. This is amazing. If we are some interdimensional being that's just trapped here, dude, we're here for a reason. Either we signed up, we volunteered, or we're here. It doesn't matter what it is. Have a fucking good time.
And while you're having a good time, spread your seed.
Yeah.
You're a flower.
Try not to hurt too many people unless you make money. Then fucking hurt them all. Put them in the ground.
Well, boys, on that note about spreading seeds and flowers, we are 3 hours and 15 minutes in.
2 hours?
So an hour 45 left.
Yeah, hour 45.
I would say, well, this is another show. I'm going to have a chat afterwards. I would say to explain where you come from, boys, but you have no channels to explain. So anybody in the chat that's saying these
we're
guys
government disinfo agents,
they've got you can't go
Only
anywhere.
A government disinfo agent would say that.
Only a government. I get accused of that a lot. The thing is, if I was a fucking government disinfo agent, I'd be great. Uncle Sam, talk to me. Talk to me. Cut me a check, buddy.
Is Lou one?
I don't know. I don't know Lou. If I had to take a guess, yeah, probably. That's what my gut instinct tells me. It tells me I don't know that he's a disinfo agent. I think that's an improper term. I think he is a driver on the seat of information, and he's taking everyone where someone's telling him to go. He's just a driver, right? It's not his car. It's not his info. It's not even his plan. It's not his direction. He's a hired driver, and he's taking everyone somewhere.
Mainstream media.
Yep. Yeah, he's just
so you're saying he's taken a lot of the UFO channels for a ride?
He's taking them somewhere. They're not asking very good questions. But the thing is, understand, I don't, Lou, if you've watched this, and I bet you probably fucking will.
What question would you ask, Lou?
What?
Yeah.
What's your favorite caliber? You know, are you a custom guy or are you a stock guy? You like competition or you like practical?
Yeah.
Long range, short range.
Yeah.
You know? You want dude, you want to go run some fucking trees with me, dude? Let's have a competition so you can put them down first. I'm curious.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. Dude, I'm not going to ask him anything that's going to... One, if he is under NDAs, and I'm sure he is, I'm not going to ask him to violate that because he's not going to do it. It's pointless. What I want to do is get a measure of the man. That's what nobody's doing. Get a measure of the man. Start there. Before I really got to know you, Ollie, I took all the time in the world to get a measure of you.
Well, I think we established that
you could drink 7-8 beers.
Lightweight
exactly.
Stuff.
That was
Stuff.
no. I think the test was when we did the whiskey, and you failed.
No. It was the penis pictures. It's the penis pictures and the ruler.
Jesus Christ! Honestly, I'm going to end the show on that because honestly, I thought that was kept private.
I mean, I put it on my Instagram.
Yeah,
it's a private Instagram. I'll give you that.
That was my wife's anyway, not mine. On that note, I appreciate you all tonight in the chat, people. Max, as always, it's been a pleasure. From the last show, I want to get you both. I want to get you both, you and James, on together.
Yeah,
with two flat earthers. Just to put that out there. That would be amazing, by the way. But no, I wouldn't do that to you. Unless you wanted to. I would definitely do that to you. Dave,
Sir.
I'm sure you'll be on again soon. If not, we'll see you on Must See Audio.
Yeah, I'm on Must See Audio.
We won't see you. We'll hear you.
You'll hear me.
We'll hear you on Must See Audio.
You'll
We
hear
won't
me.
see you. But yeah, I want to thank everybody in the chat. Subscribe, like, share, and all that jazz. Go check out the Patreon page. And if you want to buy yourself a t-shirt, buy yourself one. They keep you warm. And some of them I hear have anti-BO mechanisms under the armpits. Also, my drinking utensils, as Dave has one, will tell you they are laced with some sort of strange chemical underneath the rim that tingles the lips when you drink it and vibrates them
Yeah, I lost 4 hours
immensely.
Of time.
So if you do buy one and you with your partner, have a drink and then, do your thing. Have a good time. Good night, God bless. Band the Bugs Out by I'm Alien Addict. Like, share, and subscribe and all that jazz. And stay in touch on all that social media bollocks that I do now and again. Yeah. Also, I'm messing about with some AI art. You'll see it. Go check me out on Instagram. Good night. And have a terrific week. I'll see you next Friday. Because the show will be on Friday. Because I'm away tomorrow. And I'm back next Friday. There you go.